Chapter 1 Chapter 1 In the backyard of the thatched cottage in Daongtown Inn, Xiao Changtian was wearing a green robe. He looked handsome and carefree as he held half a bowl of corn in his hand and mumbled. When other people transmigrate, they use a heaven-defying immortal artifact or a divine-grade cultivation technique. Why did my system give me a green tortoise? Xiao Changtian lowered his head and sighed. In his previous life, he was an animal caretaker. Because he stayed up late to cultivate, he suddenly died and transmigrated. He had thought that after transmigrating, he would be able to obtain a cheat system and be invincible in the other world. However, he had awakened the never cultivate system. He obtained a green tortoise, and his daily task was to feed the tortoise. Completing daily missions would give skill bonuses, but these skills had nothing to do with immortal cultivation. If it weren't for the system telling him that the path of invincibility would be activated after he had collected all the animals in the zoo in his previous life, he would have committed suicide. A female cultivator in a long dress flew past the sky. Xiao Changtian only dared to look at her enviously. He lowered his head and threw another corn grain into the pond. The green-furred tortoise in the pond ate the corn and burped. It twisted its 4 short legs and turned around, and a white tortoise egg the size of a thumb fell out. Xiao Changtian lifted his eyebrow as he thought, tortoise can lay eggs. However, the tortoise was a male. Tortoise egg? Xiao Changtian was stunned. He even wondered if it was reasonable. However, on second thought, the system gave this tortoise. This egg was probably also provided by the system. He picked up the tortoise egg and prepared to study it. As expected, the system's voice sounded. Ding! Publishing mission. Let the first person who enters the cottage today eat the tortoise egg. Reward, the big lucky blind box. The system's voice resounded in Xiao Changtian's mind. The big lucky blind box. Xiao Changtian's eyes lit up. Could it be a powerful cultivation technique? Xiao Changtian thought. It was dark outside, and stars filled the sky. Xiao Changtian lay on the rocking chair with anticipation. What's inside the blind box? A peerless divine technique or an invincible cultivation base? Just after Xiao Changtian spoke, a 7-colored light exploded in the dark sky. The entire night sky glowed gorgeously. It's so late at night, and there's still someone setting off fireworks. Xiao Changtian was puzzled. He immediately felt a wave of sleepiness and remembered that he had suddenly died while cultivating his previous life. He quickly got up and prepared to go back to sleep. Meanwhile, 1,000 meters away from Daongtown, the 9-headed phoenix turned pale, and blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. She was attacked by an alliance when breaking through to the greater vehicle realm. Her realm fell, and she was seriously injured. No. My cultivation level is dropping too fast. If I drain up my vital energy to escape, it will cause irreversible damage to my foundation. On Mu Jiuhuang's pale face, her phoenix eyes squinted and locked on the thatched cottage next to the inn. Right now, I can only stay here and hide. It'll be good if I can delay for a while. At the thought of this, Mu Jiuhuang's figure flashed, and she arrived in front of the thatched house. Xiao Changtian had fallen asleep. But when he heard the sound, he instantly understood that someone was coming. Joy rushed through Xiao Changtian. Finally, someone had come. The blind box was about to open. He was going to be invincible. He opened the wooden door and saw a woman in a red dress. She exuded a noble and cold aura, and her appearance was unparalleled. Xiao Changtian looked at Mu Jiuhuang. Although the blood at the corner of her mouth had been wiped away, her pale face still revealed that she was frail. She looked anxious. "Young lady, are you being hunted?" Xiao Changtian asked as he saw her expression. "Please provide me a place to hide," Mu Jiuhuang looked at Xiao Changtian and requested anxiously. If they delayed any longer, the Black Fiend Taoist would catch up. Xiao Changtian was stunned for a moment. From Mu Jiuhuang's urgent tone, he knew that the woman before him was indeed being chased. Xiao Changtian didn't want to get into trouble, but he thought of the system's mission and nodded. Follow me. Xiao Changtian brought Mu Jiuhuang to the backyard. Mu Jiuhuang followed closely behind without hesitation. The person in front of her was only a mortal and could not pose any threat to her. Xiao Changtian led Mu Jiuhuang to a chicken shed. You can hide here. I've seen everything here. This is the only place you can hide, Xiao Changtian pointed at the chicken shed and said helplessly. That was the only place in his backyard where people could hide. Looking at the chicken shed before her, Mu Jiuhuang was instantly dumbfounded as she thought. He wants me, the great Emperor Jiuhuang, to hide in a chicken shed? Who do you think I am? I'm Emperor Jiuhuang, a phoenix, a supreme divine beast. How can I hide in a chicken coop? Are there no other places for me to hide? Mu Jiuhuang's eyebrows furrowed slightly. There was a trace of anger in her tone as she looked at Xiao Changtian with an overbearing aura. Is this mortal toying with me? Mu Jiuhuang thought. Mu Jiuhuang's expression froze. She was about to get angry. But suddenly, her expression changed, and a strange feeling arose. Mu Jiuhuang was stunned. This was a feeling that only the 9 Phoenix Dynasty's forbidden land would have. Could it be that this place was a forbidden area? Mu Jiuhuang was overjoyed. This mortal was ignorant and could not sense the existence of the restriction array. However, it was an opportunity for her now. She could use the array to conceal herself and delay the time to heal her injuries. Thus, Mu Jiuhuang walked into the chicken shed and sat cross-legged with her eyes closed. Her forehead puckered as she circulated the true essence in her body to heal her injuries. Xiao Changtian was delighted to see this. He turned to the kitchen and cooked the tortoise egg. About an hour later, the tortoise egg was ready. Xiao Changtian happily took out the tortoise egg and went to the chicken shed again. I see that your face is pale. You've been running all the way. Eat an egg to calm down and replenish your strength. Mu Jiuhuang opened her eyes. Her gaze locked onto the egg, and she said, It's okay. I don't eat tortoise eggs. She looked at the tortoise egg in Xiao Changtian's hand with disdain as she thought. I'm a powerhouse at the heavenly tribulation realm. The phoenix's blood flows in my body, and I'll never eat a tortoise egg. I, the great Emperor Jiuhuang, can't lower my status even if I'm in trouble. Okay. Xiao Changtian answered indifferently. He placed the bowl with the tortoise egg to the side and walked back. He didn't believe anyone could resist food. Moreover, the person was injured and weak. Seeing Xiao Changtian leave, Mu Jiuhuang's face turned pale again. She quickly closed her eyes to recuperate. However, a strange fragrance wafted out just as she closed her eyes. She sensed the aura of a spiritual item as if it was right in front of her. Is it this egg? Mu Jiucheng suddenly opened his eyes. A fiery red light circulated in his eyes. This was her divine power, the eyes of the divine phoenix. What a great tonic! Mu Jiuhuang's eyes lit up. Although she couldn't tell the egg's origin, she urgently needed spiritual items. She immediately broke the eggshell and swallowed the egg. She felt like a boundless ocean was pouring in instantly, and an unparalleled power rushed into her meridians. The Black Fiend Taoist's previous attack had submerged in the sea. Her realm, which had been falling continuously, was directly stabilized. In an instant, Mu Jiuhuang's body and realm recovered to their original state. My God, what kind of egg is this? This is unbelievable. Even Mu Jiuhuang, Emperor Jiuhuang, was shocked. She was the emperor of the 9 Phoenix dynasty, and her cultivation base was at the heavenly tribulation realm. During the era when the ancient emperors fell, being at the heavenly tribulation realm was invincible. However, This egg had completely healed all the injuries in her body. Mu Jiuqin was stunned for a moment and lifted her head. In an instant, she saw a green tortoise staring at her coldly, but it seemed to be afraid of something and did not attack her. As she had not deactivated the eyes of the divine phoenix, the green tortoise looked different to Mu Jiuhuang. It was a huge green tortoise. Its body seemed to be as tall as the sky. No, it was even taller than the sky. Its 4 legs were like pillars that supported the sky, crossing the heavens and earth. The tortoise's head revealed an ice-cold expression. It was as if the world was trembling as it stared at Mu Jiuhuang angrily. Black tortoise. Mu Jiuhuang was shocked. That was the legendary black tortoise. The black tortoise's gaze seemed to be fixed on the eggshell in her hand. It made her wonder if the egg from before belonged to the black tortoise. No wonder the egg could heal the injuries in her body in an instant. Mu Jiuhuang's body couldn't help but tremble. This was the black tortoise, and she had eaten its egg. There was only one thought in Mu Jiuhuang's mind. I'm doomed. The black tortoise could easily suppress her, and it was at least in the greater vehicle realm. It would only take a moment for the black tortoise to kill her, but it didn't move. From time to time, it looked at the room where Xiao Changtian was in with fear in its eyes. Her life seemed to be in the hands of Black Tortoise, making her feel like she was sitting on pins and needles as if she was on the verge of dying at any time. Could it be that Black Tortoise was afraid of that person just now, so he didn't attack me at the first moment? Help! Help! Thoughts flooded Mu Jiuhuang and she could not help herself from shouting for help. In the room, after Mu Jiuhuang ate the tortoise egg, the system's reward was transferred to her account. Ding! Congratulations, host. The system reward is yours. The system's voice sounded, and a blind box appeared in Xiao Changtian's hand. However, just as he was about to open the blind box, he suddenly heard Mu Jiuhuang's cry for help. He was shocked and thought the person who was after that man had arrived. Had something happened to that woman? He thought. Xiao Changtian hurried to the chicken shed and saw the green tortoise walking out of the pond. It was baring its teeth and staring at Mu Jiuhuang fiercely. Mu Jiuhuang was so frightened that she trembled and hid in the chicken shed, not daring to move. That's all. She is calling for help for this? Xiao Changtian frowned and was somewhat speechless as he thought. It was only a green tortoise. Why would someone be afraid of a tortoise? Xiao Changtian looked at the green tortoise and warned, "Go back into the pond. If you can't even be obedient at night, I'll make you into soup." Hearing this, the green tortoise finally suppressed the killing intent in its heart. It wriggled its 4 short legs and quickly returned to the pond. Mu Jiuhuang sat in the chicken coop, feeling afraid. She almost died. Without the black tortoise's hesitation, she would have lost her life. Mu Jiuhuang looked at Xiao Changtian in disbelief and felt lingering fear as she thought, this person made the divine beast black tortoise retreat just like that? It was the divine beast black tortoise of the greater vehicle realm. This was this person's courtyard, and he was the black tortoise's master. Then, wouldn't this person's cultivation be above the greater vehicle realm? Mu Jiuhuang gasped and was shocked. How could she not understand that the young man in front of her was a peerless master? Chapter 2. Chapter 2. I'm going back to sleep. You can continue to stay in the chicken coop. Xiao Changtian said indifferently. He still had to go back and open the blind box. Wait. Mu Jiuhuang saw that Xiao Changtian was about to leave and hurriedly called out to him. She had eaten the black tortoise's egg, and the black tortoise would not forgive her so easily. She was afraid that after the master left, the black tortoise would come to kill her again. Xiao Changtian, who had already at the door, stopped. Women were troublesome. Xiao Changtian turned around and frowned. He said impatiently, "Young lady, is there something you need? I'm scared. Can you stay here and accompany me?" Mu Jilhuang spoke in a low voice. Her entire face flushed red. She was delicate and beautiful. If the 9 Phoenix Dynasty's people saw their emperor in this state, their jaws would drop. No, I'm going to sleep. Xiao Changsheng shook his head as he thought. I have to work and rest regularly in this life. How can I stay up late to cultivate with you? When Xiao Changtian refused her, Mu Jilhuang looked at the pool again and found that the black tortoise was still looking in their direction. Thinking about the black tortoise's terrifying aura, Mu Jilhuang felt a chill down her spine. The divine beast black tortoise could kill her with one slap. She could not stay there. There was only one way left. I want to spend the night in your room. Mu Jilhuang asked embarrassedly, and her cheeks flushed red. She was worried that Xiao Changtian would think she was frivolous. After all, it was not right for a man and a woman to spend the night alone in a room. However, Mu Jilhuang shuddered at the thought of the black tortoise's terrifying aura. My room? Xiao Changtian was startled and wondered why that woman wanted to go to his room. She was there to avoid being hunted down and not cause him trouble. I'm afraid. Mu Jilhuang's face turned pale. She had eaten the black tortoise's egg. The black tortoise would not let her off so easily. Come in. Xiao Changtian saw that Mu Jilhuang's body was still trembling. He could see she was terrified. So, he helplessly agreed. Thanks a lot. Seeing Xiao Changtian nodding, Mu Jilhuang's face lit up in joy, and she followed him into the room. The two of them entered the room. The furnishings in the room were extremely simple. There was a table and chair, an oil lamp, and a large bed. This is his room. Mu Jilhuang's heart skipped a beat. It was too simple. That man is a peerless master, and his cultivation is above the greater vehicle realm. How can he live in this small broken house? She thought. This did not match the status of an expert. Could it be that the senior has returned to his true self and are training his heart in the mortal world? Mu Jilhuang's eyes suddenly lit up in joy. She felt that this reason made more sense. All right, I'm going to sleep. Do as you please. Xiao Changtian walked to the bed and lay down. He closed his eyes and began to sleep. Do whatever I please. Mu Jilhuang stood and looked at Xiao Changtian lying on the bed. His body only took up half of the bed, and her brows furrowed slightly. She was thinking about what the senior meant. The senior told her to do as she pleased, but his body only took up half of the bed. So she guessed the senior wanted her to sleep on the bed. Although Xiao Changtian's eyes were closed, he could still hear this woman seem to be walking towards him. Huh? His body seemed to have touched something soft. He wondered. What is she trying to do? Could it be that she's coveting my unparalleled handsomeness and is ruthlessly preparing to ravage my body? For a moment, Xiao Changtian's heart hammered in him. He didn't know if he should resist or accept it. For the blind box and invincible cultivation, I'll endure it. Xiao Changtian was prepared. The heavens were about to give a man a great task, and he must exhaust his bones and muscles first. This was the first step to opening the path of invincibility. Come on. Come and ravage me. He thought. Xiao Changsheng could feel a delicate body moving slowly on top of him. Wisps of fragrance fell and entered his nose. Xiao Changsheng had already prepared himself. His thought became savage. No. He felt wronged. However, after a long time, he felt as if Mu Jilhuang was lying next to him, motionless. Why is this woman not moving? Maybe she wants to seduce me and make me take the initiative. That's impossible. I'm a good man who keeps my body clean. You will never seduce me. Mu Jilhuang lay down beside Xiao Changtian. As the emperor, this was the first time she slept on the same bed as a man. Her heart thumped fast, and she was nervous. Outside, she was the emperor who awed the entire continent. Now in bed, she was just a person protected by her senior. She couldn't help but look at the profile of Xiao Changtian's face. He was handsome and masculine, filled with a kind of charm. She even couldn't help but want to touch his face. Mu Jiuhuang mustered up her courage and raised her hand slightly, about to touch Xiao Changtian's face. Suddenly, she felt a pair of eyes staring at her. She lifted her head and looked out of the window. Ah! Mu Jiuhuang screamed. The black tortoise's gaze was too terrifying. She screamed and pounced on Xiao Changtian. Due to the shock of the black tortoise's primordial spirit, Mu Jiuhuang fainted. She fell on Xiao Changtian's body. Xiao Changtian was a virgin of 2 lives, and now such a beautiful woman had fainted on him. He could feel the woman's body temperature and the faint fragrance from the tip of his nose. Blood rushed up Xiao Changtian's brain, and he fainted. The sun rose, and it was another beautiful day. Xiao Changtian woke up and felt a little dizzy. He vaguely remembered that Mu Jiuhuang seemed to have fainted on him last night. He stretched his hand to the side. Where is she? Xiao Changtian sat up and looked around. His clothes were still there, and he immediately felt depressed. Recalling last night, he could not believe he had fainted too. He was speechless. At the same time, tens of thousands of meters above Dayang town, a black-robed Taoist looked down coldly with a fierce expression. He was the Black Fiend Taoist. Mu Jiuhuang, how long do you think your array can hold me back? I can sense your aura in this town. You definitely can't run far in your heavily injured state. Black Fiend Taoist sneered and released his divine will, which instantly enveloped the entire Dayang town. In a few breaths, Black Fiend Taoist's spiritual will locked onto the backyard of the thatched house. Ha ha ha. The great Emperor Jiuhuang hid in a chicken coop. However, anyone who dares to help Mu Jiuhuang is my enemy. Black Fiend Taoist attacked, and boundless black qi surged like dark clouds. The demonic blood qi filled the air, and the howls of thousands of ghosts made all the cultivators in Dayang town tremble. The elders discussing in the main hall in the great Dayang sect felt a chill in their hearts. Quickly, go and invite the ancestor. The sect leader of the great Dayang sect said anxiously. As a cultivator, he could feel that the entire great Dayang town would be destroyed if this attack landed. Xiao Changtian was feeding the chickens in the backyard, and the green turtle was blowing bubbles in the pond. Sensing Black Fiend Taoist's aura, the turtle emerged from the water and slapped the air with its front leg. Black Fiend Taoist, gathering his killing intent and preparing to destroy Dayang town, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He sensed an extremely terrifying aura coming toward him. Where did this expert come from? Black Fiend Taoist's expression turned cold, and he again exerted his divine sense. Suddenly, a shadow of a black tortoise that was as tall as the sky appeared. Black Fiend Taoist immediately saw the black tortoise's true form. He was instantly dumbfounded. How is this possible? It's the divine beast Black Tortoise, a divine beast of the greater vehicle realm. Black Fiend Taoist was instantly dumbfounded and wanted to turn around and run. However, the black tortoise's terrifying palm instantly sealed the space around Black Fiend Taoist. With a bang, Black Fiend Taoist's figure exploded into a bloody mist in the void. At this moment, Xiao Changtian also opened the blind box. It's Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Xiao Changtian opened the blind box with incomparable anticipation. He said in a deep voice, "Open the blind box." In an instant, the blind box emitted a golden light that was extremely dazzling. After the golden light, an earth dog fist manual and a small dog the size of a rice bowl appeared. It's this. Xiao Changtian was speechless. He had a tortoise and now a puppy. Was the system trying to make his place a zoo? Helplessly, Xiao Changtian could only look at the earth dog fist manual. He had heard of this in his previous life. It was also a very powerful martial art. Even if I can't cultivate, it's not bad to master a peerless martial art. Xiao Changtian opened the manual expectantly. Then, his mood sank. There were no moves or mental cultivation methods in the Earth Dog Fist manual or written annotations. There were only a few pictures of the dog digging the soil. Xiao Changtian's hand, holding the fist manual, instantly trembled in anger. He threw the Earth Dog Fist on the ground. "This isn't the Earth Dog Fist," he growled, "stupid system. Are you toying with me?" However, the system's response was silence. "Forget it. I'll use it to balance the table's leg. It just so happens that the table has been shaking these few days." Thus, Xiao Changtian placed the Earth Dog Fist manual under the table leg. Just nice. As for this little dog, he would add a kennel for it. After a while, a red-haired old man with a red beard appeared in the sky above the inn with a puzzled expression. That man was the Daong Sex Elder and a famous Golden Core expert in the great Daong town. He was mighty. Those two auras appeared in the courtyard next door. My senses can't be wrong. The Daong Sex Elder stared at the small courtyard. Xiao Changtian carried the dog and walked out, preparing to find materials to build his kennel. The Daong Sex Elder was puzzled when he saw Xiao Changtian. He wondered, could the two auras that had exploded above the courtyard be related to this person? Considering this, Reverend Qi Yang's figure moved and appeared before Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian, who was hugging the puppy and muttering to himself, was shocked. "Are you a ghost? Why don't you make any sound when you walk?" Xiao Changtian stared at Reverend Qi Yang in surprise. This old man was quite fashionable. His hair was dyed red. Reverend Qi Yang's divine sense swept across and found that Xiao Changtian had no cultivation. A mortal? Reverend Qi Yang nodded. Those two auras shouldn't be related to this person. "I'm Reverend Qi Yang from the Daong sect," he said with a faint smile. Who wouldn't know Reverend Qi Yang's reputation in Daong town? He was the Daong Sex Elder, a Golden Core realm expert. When the people of Daong town saw him, they all knelt in admiration. Reverend Qi Yang looked at Xiao Changtian, who was in front of him. He was already prepared to accept the worship. "Okay." Xiao Changtian gave a perfunctory answer. He also knew about Reverend Qi Yang, the almost invincible cultivator in Daong town. However, when he went to the Daong sect to find a master, there was no response from the stone tablet. From then on, Xiao Changtian could only give up and wait to complete the system's task. If it was before, Xiao Changtian might have asked the immortal to take him as a disciple. But now, he had no intention of doing so. Without any talent, no matter who took him as a disciple, he would not be able to cultivate. His expression became desolate, and he didn't speak for long. Reverend Qi Yang was already looking forward to Xiao Changtian kneeling to him. But when he heard Xiao Changtian's answer, he was suddenly stunned. Something was not right. Shouldn't this kid kneel and beg me to give him a little blessing? He thought. Although cultivators couldn't attack mortals, mortals still extremely respected them. What's with this kid's attitude? Reverend Qi Yang shook his head as he thought. With his status, he did not need to argue with a mortal. He said, "Did you see people fighting in the air?" "No, I didn't." Xiao Changtian shook his head and thought. How could cultivators be fighting in broad daylight? If cultivators were to fight with their terrifying cultivation, wouldn't my small courtyard have been demolished long ago? "Alright, you can leave now." Reverend Qi Yang nodded. He could tell from Xiao Changtian's eyes that this man wasn't lying. Xiao Changtian nodded and left disappointedly. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Reverend Qi Yang frowned slightly as he watched Xiao Changtian leave. That's right. Those two experts were both above the Golden Core realm. It would be a piece of cake if they wanted to hide their auras. The person in front of him was only a mortal. How could he have seen a fight between cultivators? Meanwhile, Xiao Changtian found some bricks and soil to build a small kennel for the puppy. Then, he took some food the system gave him and fed the puppy. Ding! The host has been detected to have fed a second animal. Reward, he's a master of calligraphy. The system's notification rang out in Xiao Changtian's mind. Xiao Changtian didn't show any surprise. Instead, his face was calm. By now, he was proficient in the 4 arts, including calligraphy. If it were in his previous life, he would have become a star with his looks and talent. But now, they were pointless. In the world of immortal cultivation, these skills were of little value. He would have to live a boring and peaceful life. Xiao Changtian would feed the animals daily, work at sunrise, rest at sunset, and never stay up late to cultivate. Half a month later, a red ray of light came from the distant sky. After it reached the sky above the small courtyard, it began to dissipate. Mu Jiuwang's figure disappeared along with the red light and appeared in front of the small courtyard. Looking at the small courtyard before her, Mu Jiuwang felt grateful. After returning to the 9 Phoenix dynasty, she discovered that the Black Fiend Daoist had died. She was certain the person who could kill Black Fiend Daoist was the senior. Recalling that night, in her panic, she had laid on the senior's body, and her pretty face instantly flushed red. Mu Jiuwang saw Xiao Changtian's figure through the door. Her beautiful eyes locked onto Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian threw a corn kernel into the pool, and the tortoise ate it. Black tortoise eats ordinary grains. The black tortoise is a divine beast from the greater vehicle realm. How can it cultivate by relying on ordinary corn? Mu Jiuwang looked at the corn and opened the eyes of the divine phoenix, but she still couldn't see anything. Are they just ordinary corn? Mu Jiuwang squinted her eyes, and her pretty face looked astonished. Although the black tortoise was a divine beast, there were only 2 ways to cultivate into that realm. One was to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, while the other was to listen to the supreme Tao and breakthrough in his enlightenment. Could it be that Senior has taught the supreme Tao to Black Tortoise? It must be that. Mu Jiuwang was shocked by her speculation. That was the only way to explain why the Black Tortoise could cultivate the greater vehicle realm while eating grains. If only I could follow his side and listen to his lecture. Wouldn't that mean I would quickly become a greater vehicle realm cultivator? I must stay by Senior's side then. Mu Jiuwang thought to herself as she stood before the courtyard gate and greeted softly, "May I come in?" Hearing someone calling from outside the door, Xiao Changtian put down the corn in his hand and looked up. Huh? Isn't this the woman from before? Xiao Changtian was puzzled. He looked at Mu Jiuwang and found her face was ruddy and springy. It was apparent that her previous injuries had recovered. "Oh, it's you. Come in." Xiao Changtian beckoned with his hand. Recalling that sudden softness, he couldn't help but feel some reminiscence in his heart. Could it be that she had come back to find me? He thought. Xiao Changtian's heart was filled with joy, but he suppressed his emotions and didn't let himself get too excited. Otherwise, he might faint again. "Thanks." Mu Jiuwang's face lit up. She didn't expect the senior to remember her. She walked into the courtyard and said respectfully, "Thank you for your help last time. I'm here to repay your kindness." Mu Jiuwang bowed respectfully to Xiao Changtian. It made her feel like he was wearing short clothes in the snow because she was facing Xiao Changtian. That was because he knew that Senior had returned to his true self and concealed himself from the world of mortals, so he did not want to be disturbed. She even deliberately changed the title Senior to you. Mu Jiuwang said as she took out a pen. It was a quill, its feathers like burning flames. The bone in the middle was a pure and flawless white. "I have nothing to repay you with. I can only give you this phoenix feather brush as a thank you gift, Mu Jiuhuang said respectfully. This phoenix feather brush was made from a phoenix's feathers, a precious item in the 9 Phoenix Empire. It was tough to control the phoenix feather brush. The user must have an extremely high level of attainment in the path of painting. Xiao Changtian had already prepared to sacrifice himself to help others repay their kindness. However, he instantly lost interest when he saw that it was a pen. Forget it. Although it's not worth much, it's still a token of your sincerity. Xiao Changtian sighed and took the phoenix feather brush. Is a phoenix feather brush not enough to catch the senior's eye? Mu Jiuhuang looked into Xiao Changtian's eyes and seemed a little disappointed. That's right. Senior's tortoise is a black tortoise. A phoenix feather brush is nothing to him. Mu Jiuhuang instantly understood what she had done wrong. Senior, 1 phoenix feather brush is not enough. Why don't I stay here? I can serve you as a maid. Mu Jiuhuang took the opportunity to speak again. She was the great Emperor Jiuhuang. If people knew that she was a maid, they would be shocked. However, she knew very well that it was a supreme opportunity for her to listen to the supreme Tao of such an expert while he was serving him. As a maid? That's fine. Xiao Changtian's heart was filled with joy. The maid could warm his bed and also. However, although Xiao Changtian was happy, he definitely couldn't show it. What if he scared the girl away? If you want to be my maid, that's fine too. Hearing this, Mu Jiuhuang's face bloomed with joy. Just as she was about to thank him, Xiao Changtian said, but you have to give up some things. It's up to you if you can accept it. Give up some things. Could it be that the senior wants my? Hearing this, Mu Jiuhuang's fair face blushed. However, it was to become a senior's maid, serve the senior, repay the senior's life-saving grace, and even have the opportunity to listen to the Supreme Tao. That was a supreme opportunity. Compared to the unparalleled opportunity, so what if she abandoned her body? I can do it. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Then, let's settle this matter now. Xiao Changtian turned around and entered the room. Now. Mu Jiuhuang's cheeks flushed red, and she was flustered. She didn't think that senior would want it now. Was it appropriate to do it in broad daylight? However, since it was an order from the senior, she couldn't refuse. She could sacrifice anything for the supreme Tao, not to mention her body. Immortal cultivators never cared about these empty things. She tiptoed after him and gently closed the door. Bang! Bang! The sound of the door closing made Mu Jiuhuang's heart hammer. Not bad, Xiao Changtian praised. She even knew that this kind of thing needed the door to be closed. Otherwise, it would not be good if someone saw them doing it. Thank you, senior. Mu Jiuhuang's face flushed red after being praised. When the two of them entered the room, Mu Jiuhuang was at a loss. Is senior coming? Should I move by myself? Or should I wait for the senior to make a move? As the empress, she didn't care about her appearance and pursued the supreme Tao with all her heart. But this was also her first time. Why are you lowering your head? You're not going back on your word, are you? Xiao Changtian looked at Mu Jiuhuang, who had her head lowered and was shaking slightly. He was puzzled. Was this woman toying with him? No, Jiuhuang has no regrets. Mu Jiuhuang thought Xiao Changtian was angry, so she lifted her head and said firmly. You have to think carefully. I didn't force you. You wanted to be my maid. I'll give you another chance to think about it. After today, you won't have the opportunity to regret it. Xiao Changtian said in a deep voice. Women were troublesome. They said one thing and meant another. You said you'd be my maid, but now you're wavering. I'm not one of those tools you're playing with. Xiao Changtian's face was gloomy as he sat down and thought. This person. I have saved her, yet she came to pester me. She couldn't agree to even such a small request. Xiao Changtian was very depressed. He picked up the teapot and took 3 big gulps before feeling his anger calm down. Senior, I've thought it through. I won't regret it. Mu Jiuhuang adjusted her emotions and walked before Xiao Changtian. You've thought it through? Xiao Changtian asked again. Mu Jiuhuang nodded. Okay, then go to the bed and lift the blanket. Xiao Changtian said. Yes. Mu Jiuhuang nodded and used her vital spirit to suppress her anxiety. She walked to the bed and lifted the quilt. Then, she took off her shoes, revealing her beautiful, white, and jade-like feet. Her feet were emitting waves of fragrance. Mu Jiuhuang's feet tapped lightly as she walked up to the big bed. She began to take off her red dress. The long dress slipped down, revealing her delicate collarbones and snow-white shoulders. Then, she covered them with the blanket. Senior, I'm done. Mu Jiuhuang closed her eyes and lay down as she spoke softly. Why didn't you bring it over since it's done? Xiao Changtian, who was drinking water, was a little speechless. It was just an agreement. She could have brought it. Xiao Changtian helplessly turned his head. Pfft. The tea in his mouth spurted out. Xiao Changtian turned around and saw Mu Jiuhuang lying on the bed, blushing. The after-effects of being a virgin caused his blood to surge, and he almost fainted again. What are you doing? Put on your clothes. Xiao Changtian quickly rebuked and turned his head away, not daring to look. Huh. When Mu Jiuhuang heard this, her pretty face turned pale, and she quickly put on her clothes again. A trace of joy flashed through her heart, but at the same time, she was a little disappointed. Could it be that Senior doesn't like me? Mu Jiuhuang thought disappointedly. Senior, I'm done, Mu Jiuhuang said as she stood by the bed, not knowing what to do. You're really stupid, Xiao Changtian put down the teapot and walked over. Then, he stretched his body out from the bed. A piece of white paper covered with dense black words appeared in his hand. I'm asking you to take this contract. What are you thinking? Xiao Changtian was speechless. What kind of person was he? He was a gentleman. What was in this little girl's mind? Then, Xiao Changtian handed the phoenix feather brush to Mu Jiuhuang. Since you're willing to give up your salary, sign this contract, and you can stay as a maid. Mu Jiuhuang was shocked. A contract? She thought that the senior wanted her to do that with him. That's right. It's a contract. The contract is the proof. What if you go to the government to sue me for not paying my salary after being a maid for 2 days? Then wouldn't I be severely punished? Xiao Changtian explained. The government? Salary? Mu Jiuhuang was stunned as she thought. Senior is asking me to give up my salary and not my. Just this? I was already prepared to take it off, and you're telling me this? That's true. Senior, you've hidden in the mortal world and returned to your true self. The mortal world has refined your heart, and everything you do is the actions of an ordinary person. Senior, I'll sign it now. Mu Jiuhuang picked up the phoenix feather brush and signed the contract. After signing the contract, Xiao Changtian carefully compared it again. After confirming there was no mistake, he stuffed the contract into his clothes. Mu Jiuhuang. From today onwards, you are my maid. I'll call you Jior. Xiao Changtian kept the contract as he looked at her thoughtfully. One more person meant more food. It didn't matter if he was alone. He could find something to fill his tummy. But now he had a maid. His life could not go on like this. He had to start making a living for 2 people's food. So, he pondered. Why don't I open a bookstore? The initial cost is too high. Although there are stories, it's easy to go bankrupt too. The risk is too high. Then let's sell some calligraphy and paintings first to save up some capital. Xiao Changtian flipped his bed and took out a dozen copper coins. Take 10 copper coins to the town to buy some papers. You don't have to buy too expensive ones, as long as the quality is good. Then, use the remaining ones to buy steamed buns. Mu Jiuhuang took the copper coins and nodded seriously. Although she didn't know what the senior wanted to do, she just needed to complete her master's task. Mu Jiuhuang went to buy papers. Xiao Changtian began to build up his stall at home. At the same time, a young man and woman walked into the Daong Town Inn. The man and woman were teasing each other. The man wore a white brocade robe. He had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He was handsome and had a long black sword at his waist. Even though he looked worried, the arrogance in his eyes could not be hidden. The woman was wearing a long black lace dress. She was young, and her body had not fully developed. There was even some baby fat on her fair and tender face. However, one could tell at a glance that she was a beauty. In a few years, she would be devastatingly beautiful. One was the head disciple of the Qingyun sect, Hua Qingyun, and the other was the daughter of the sect master, Wang Luoli. They walked into the inn and headed to the counter. "Boss, a superior room," Hua Qingyun said. "Okay." The receptionist at the counter glanced at the two of them and cast a look as if he understood everything. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Ah! Wang Luoli gasped for breath. The two of them had not stopped at all along the way. They had already consumed half of their spiritual energy, so it would be strange if they were not tired. "I'm so tired from the journey. Senior brother, didn't my father forbid disciples from going down the mountain? Then why did we come down the mountain?" Wang Luoli's two big bright eyes stared at her senior brother with doubt. "Master doesn't allow us to go down the mountain. But 2 days ago, 2 people were fighting here. I heard the 2 are very powerful, both above the nascent soul realm and likely to be in the deity incarnation realm. Don't you want to fight? It's boring to stay in the Qingyun sect all day." Hua Qingyun explained, his eyes filled with yearning. He was the senior brother of the Qingyun sect and an outstanding young man. At a young age, his strength had already reached the deity incarnation realm, which was terrifying. His master, perfected Qingyun, was an expert at the first level of the heavenly tribulation realm. The Qingyun sect was also a famous top-ranked sect. However, perfected Qingyun rarely restrained him, so he naturally developed a combative character. Besides, youngsters should be arrogant and bold. Otherwise, it would be a waste of the beautiful age. When he heard that an expert was passing by Daong Town, Hua Qingyun wanted to fight with him. "Senior brother, why are you bringing me if you want to fight?" Wang Luoli was puzzled. He. With you here, we're accomplices, and the sect master loves you the most. According to the Qingyun sect's fair punishment, the sect master will not punish you severely. Then, wouldn't I, your senior brother, escape this punishment? Hua Qingyun chuckled. Wang Luoli was speechless. "Stinky senior brother, you've been tricking me all day and taking advantage of me. Don't even think about it this time." Wang Luoli rolled her eyes and got up to leave. Hua Qingyun would not want to let Wang Luoli leave. His master might punish him severely if he was back alone. "Junior sister, I'll take you to buy some clothes. I'll pay for it." He quickly tried to please her. "Buy new clothes? All right." Wang Luoli's face brightened when she heard the word, "buy clothes." She immediately stopped leaving. Meanwhile, the Empress was very fast. In a few minutes, she had bought the papers and steamed buns. However, the papers that Mu Jiuhuang bought were of the highest quality. The steamed bun was also made with the best spirit flour. Otherwise, she wouldn't have finished her shopping so soon. So fast. Xiao Changtian, who had just set up a stall at the entrance, was surprised to see Mu Jiuhuang return. He didn't expect that a weak woman like Jior, with such thin arms and legs, would be able to be such a quick runner. He suddenly felt that he had not taken her in for nothing. Mu Jiuhuang handed over the paper. Xiao Changtian took one of them and spread it on the table. He rolled up his sleeves and picked up the phoenix feather brush. Hiss! Mu Jiuhuang watched Xiao Changtian pick up the phoenix feather brush so easily and couldn't help but gasp. That was the phoenix feather brush, refined from the feathers of the divine beast phoenix. It contained a terrifying law. Even if she used the phoenix feather brush, she would have to activate her spiritual power and use some strength. However, the senior was able to casually wave it around without any spiritual energy fluctuations. He had suppressed the laws contained within the phoenix feather brush. It directly suppressed the phoenix's laws. What a terrifying realm! Master, what are you doing? Mu Jiuhuang looked at Xiao Changtian in confusion as he picked up the phoenix feather brush. He seemed to want to write something, but he was not sure. The phoenix feather brush contained vital spirit flame and required unique materials to write. The phoenix feather brush would burn the ordinary paper in front of him. Mu Jiuhuang wanted to remind him. But after thinking about it, how could a powerful senior not know? Could it be that senior has some special means? She thought. When Xiao Changtian heard Mu Jiuhuang's question, he smiled faintly and said, "Of course, it's to write." But, Mu Jiuhuang was just about to raise her doubts. Xiao Changtian was already holding the phoenix feather brush. The brush tip was dipped in ink, and he wrote directly on the paper. A line of large ink-like characters appeared on the paper within a few seconds. The sword Qi is 1,000,000 miles long, and the sword light is cold enough to freeze 15 continents. Mu Jiuhuang looked at the poem on the paper in front of her and was shocked. Every stroke of that poem was firm. His calligraphy skills had reached the peak. However, his style was not uniform. He was unrestrained, graceful, and powerful like a dragon. It was like a divine dragon soaring above the 9 heavens and a peerless swordsman waving his sword. The sword Qi is 1,000,000 miles long, and the sword light is cold enough to freeze 15 continents. Mu Jiuhuang muttered again, and a vast and overpowering intent rushed over. A shocking sword light suddenly appeared in her sea of consciousness, slashing down at the mainland of Tianyuan. The sword light expanded, and the sword Qi swept across millions of miles. It wiped out the 5 great continents. Boom! Mu Jiuhuang only felt her sea of consciousness shake. The terrifying sword intent directly scared her so much that her face turned pale, and she took a few steps back. This isn't calligraphy at all. This is a peerless sword intent. Mu Jiuhuang's face was filled with shock and horror as she thought. It was terrifying. Facing that sword light, she felt even more powerless and unable to resist it than facing the black tortoise. If she were to say that facing the black tortoise was like a leaf facing the turbulent sea, she felt like she was a speck of dust facing the vast universe when faced with this shocking sword intent. It made people feel despair. Deep despair. How was this calligraphy? Her master had hidden the peerless sword intent within the calligraphy. The master had only hidden his sword intent in his calligraphy, which was already terrifying. The master's move was simply unimaginable. This is my favorite line in the poem. Xiao Changtian put away his brush, looked up at the sky, and said faintly. Once upon a time, he had also yearned for such a carefree scene. With a single strike, the white-robed swordsman flew on his sword and traveled between heaven and earth. How carefree that was! Even on the first day Xiao Changtian had transmigrated, he had already thought that if he started cultivating, he would cultivate swordsmanship. With a sword in hand, he could roam the continent, defeat all his enemies, and compete in swordsmanship. He would also find a cute and mischievous junior sister. Every day, besides practicing his swordsmanship, he would prank his junior sister. This kind of life was simply like the life of an immortal. It's a pity that this fucking system doesn't allow me to cultivate. Xiao Changtian sighed as he thought. His face revealed endless desolation. His eyes seemed to be yearning and recalling something. Mu Jiuhuang saw all of this. She suddenly understood why the senior had hidden himself in this small courtyard. She felt the familiar loneliness, the desolation of standing at the top. Because senior was invincible. He could no longer find an opponent, so he chose to hide in the mortal world and play in the mortal world. Master, what kind of calligraphy is this? Mu Jiuhuang could not help but ask. She had never seen such calligraphy before. Xiao Changtian took a look at his calligraphy and nodded in satisfaction. That was a piece of calligraphy that could only be found on Earth. Wild scribble. It has another name, cursive writing. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. Junior sister, why did you buy so many clothes? Hua Qingyun was speechless. His ring was filled with all kinds of clothes. However, he knew that his junior sister would not wear it after he bought it. This was because his junior sister only wore black. It's none of your business. I love wearing it, Wang Luoli pouted her lips. Her chubby face looked joyful. Hua Qingyun was helpless. He thought of his junior sister taking the blame for him and smiled. The vendors had already started to pack up their stalls on the street, and the atmosphere had become cold. The two of them returned to the inn. Hey, senior brother, look at these words. I don't think I've ever seen them before. Boss, I'm buying this calligraphy piece. Wang Luoli stood in front of Xiao Changtian's stall, curiously staring at the calligraphy while muttering. Yes, good handwriting. Senior brother, how do you spell this word? Wang Luoli looked at Hua Qingyun and shouted. Hearing that there was business, Xiao Changtian sat up from his chair. He initially thought it would take a few days for customers to come, but he didn't expect that there would be people coming as soon as he set up his stall. Xiao Changtian sized Wang Luoli up. She was wearing a long black lace dress with wing patterns on it. This was the unique symbol of the Heaventire Pavilion, and a piece of this dress was worth more than 10,000 taels of gold. Moreover, this little girl had a noble temperament and was obviously from a wealthy family. The business was at the door. Xiao Changtian was overjoyed. Such a big family would usually have some knowledge of calligraphy. This deal might work. Young lady, you want to buy some calligraphy work? He asked with a smile. A successful calligraphy piece would attract the gazes of wealthy families and elegant people. However, before Wang Luoli could speak, Hua Qingyun said with disdain. What's there to see about something made by mortals? He was the head disciple of the Qingyun sect, an outstanding talent among the younger generation of the cultivation world. The things of mortals were nothing to him. Xiao Changtian was slightly shocked when he heard this. Cultivators. The cultivators he usually saw were all flying in the sky, which made Xiao Changtian think that these two were mortals. However, he immediately frowned. This young man was a little too arrogant. So what if it was a mortal thing? This was calligraphy, not a cultivation technique. Could it be that he had not even seen it and had come to a conclusion based on his imagination? Calligraphy was not based on cultivation. Although he couldn't cultivate it alone, the system rewarded his calligraphy skills. Senior brother, take a look. It's beautiful. Wang Luoli held the calligraphy piece with admiration. Although she did not recognize those words, the calligraphy piece in front of her was as strong as a shocking dragon. Every stroke was connected and turned into a circle, and the characters were wildly changing. It had a natural beauty that did not suppress one's heart. Wang Luoli's personality was carefree, and she was used to seeing neat calligraphy with rules and regulations. On the contrary, she felt a sense of oppression. The wild scribble in front of her made her feel comfortable and happy. However, Hua Qingyun shook his head and rejected her sternly. His junior sister did not even know how to write, so how could she appreciate calligraphy? Wasn't this nonsense? I won't. Hua Qingyun reached out to pull his junior sister, wanting to take her away. However, his hand suddenly stopped halfway. He rubbed his eyes and looked at Wang Luoli in disbelief. Junior sister, you've broken through. He saw that his junior sister's cultivation had been at the first level of the deity incarnation realm earlier, but now it was shockingly at the third level. My cultivation. His junior sister's talent was outstanding, even a bit higher than his, but it was impossible to break through 2 levels instantly. Now that the demons were wreaking havoc, such situations would happen from time to time. If some old monster had planted a demonic seed in her dantian, it was indeed possible for her to break through quickly. However, if this continued, his junior sister would likely end up as the old monster's puppet. Let's go. Let's hurry back. I'll check your body. It won't be good if something goes wrong. Hua Qingyun's expression was anxious. The sudden increase in cultivation level was not necessarily a good thing. No, I want to buy this painting first. Wang Luoli shook her head and refused. She had taken a fancy to this painting and wanted to buy it. Hua Qingyun was helpless. He was worried about his junior sister's condition. He looked at Xiao Changtian and said impatiently, I want this painting. How much is it? Xiao Changtian was overjoyed to hear this. Since these two were cultivators, it wouldn't be a problem to rip them off a little more. 5 copper coins it was. Hence, Xiao Changtian directly extended 5 fingers and said, 5. But before he could finish, Hua Qingyun threw down 5 pieces of gold. With a wave of his hand, he rolled up the calligraphy and disappeared with Wang Luoli. 5 pieces of gold. I'm rich. Xiao Changtian was overjoyed. When had he ever seen so much gold? Even this tiny courtyard of his was only worth 5 taels of silver after considering everything. After these 2 people find out about the price of the calligraphy, they won't come to me for a refund, right? Xiao Changtian's heart sank. He felt that this was more possible. Hence, he closed the stall and closed the door. Where's your calligraphy? Mu Jiuhuang walked out of the house and saw Xiao Changtian return. However, the calligraphy piece was gone. She asked in confusion. I sold it for 5 taels of gold. Xiao Changtian took out the gold and stared at Mu Jiuhuang's face, waiting to see her reaction. What? Sold it? 5 taels of gold? Mu Jiuhuang's tone sounded shocked, and her phoenix eyes filled with disbelief. A calligraphy piece that contained a peerless sword intent was sold for 5 taels of gold. Good heavens! What does the master want to do? Xiao Changtian stood at the side and stared at Mu Jiuhuang's face. His heart was heavy. As expected, even Jiuer felt 5 taels of gold were too expensive. He had to be more careful these few days. Meanwhile, Wang Luoli was back in the inn. Senior brother, hurry up. Wang Luoli urged with an impatient expression. At this moment, beads of sweat began to form on Hua Qingyun's forehead. No matter how much strength he used, no matter what methods he used, the junior sister in front of him still did not move. There was no reaction. Hua Qingyun panted and said helplessly. Junior sister, I can't do it. I've tried everything, but I still can't detect the abnormality in your body. I must return to the Qingyun sect now and let master come and check on your condition. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. The Qingyun sect was the top-ranked sect. The sect leader, perfected Qingyun, was an expert in the first stage of the heavenly tribulation. He was a powerful and famous expert on the mainland of Tianyuan. At this moment, they were in a magnificent pavilion. Master, is junior sister's dantian all right? Hua Qingyun asked anxiously. He blamed himself for this. They would not have encountered such a situation if he had not brought his junior sister down the mountain. After a long time, perfected Qin Yun's face suddenly turned serious. Within Li'er body, there is indeed the mark of a slave left by the old monster. What? When Hua Qingyun heard this, he was shocked. The calligraphy piece in his hand fell to the ground and spread out. I haven't finished speaking. Although there is the mark of the old monster, it has been shattered by a sword intent, perfected Qin Yun said slowly, frowning. He was curious about where the sword's intent came from. Huff. Hearing that his junior sister was fine, Hua Qingyun heaved a sigh of relief. He was the one who had secretly brought his junior sister down the mountain. If anything happened to her, he would have to bear the blame and feel guilty for the rest of his life. Senior brother, you dropped my calligraphy piece. When Wang Luoli opened her eyes, she saw that the calligraphy piece had fallen. She glared at Hua Qingyun and quickly picked it up. Perfected Qin Yun saw this scene, and he also saw the line of words on the calligraphy. In an instant, perfected Qin Yun trembled violently as if he had seen something shocking. He stood still on the spot as if he had entered a meditative state. Perfected Qin Yun was shocked and in disbelief. He stood rooted to the ground, his body trembling uncontrollably. It was a vast and unrivaled sword light from the 9 heavens. It easily cut through the barrier between the immortal and mortal worlds and headed toward the mainland of Tianyuan. One slash. Only one slash. The sword qi swept across 1,000,000 li. With a single strike, the world lost its color, and the sun and moon lost their light. The entire mainland of Tianyuan was instantly reduced to dust. This is. Perfected Qin Yun was so scared that he staggered a few steps back before he could barely stabilize himself. His face was a little pale. Master. Daddy. Hua Qin Yun and Wang Luoli were both shocked. Their master was a first-stage heavenly tribulation expert. He wouldn't stagger for no reason. Could it be that some expert who had surpassed the heavenly tribulation realm was secretly making a move? The two of them instantly became alert. Don't worry, I'm fine. With a wave of perfected Qin Yun's hand, the calligraphy in Wang Luoli's hand flew directly into his. Luoli, where did you get this piece of calligraphy? Perfected Qin Yun asked doubtfully. Every stroke of the calligraphy was extremely smooth and full of unrestrained elegance. However, each stroke seemed to be made of countless sword qi, like a drunk sword immortal dancing with his sword. This peerless swordsman had infused his sword intent into his calligraphy. I bought this calligraphy beside an inn in Daong town, Wang Luoli replied. Master, what's wrong with this piece of calligraphy? Hua Qin Yun was confused. Was this calligraphy well written? He looked over in confusion. Pfft. Hua Qin Yun spat out a mouthful of blood. He was a swordsman, so he wanted to resist the sword will the moment he came into contact with it. However, the sword intent of Hua Qin Yun was like an egg hitting a stone. He was instantly annihilated. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body's true essence vibrated. What a terrifying sword intent! Hua Qin Yun was dumbfounded. He finally understood why his junior sister had suddenly broken through, and the seal in her body had been broken. It was all because of this sword's intent. Li'er, tell me about the origins of this piece of calligraphy. Perfected Qin Yun sat on the sect leader's chair with a piece of calligraphy in his hand, quietly listening to Wang Luoli's description. Immortal? Perfected Qin Yun frowned after he listened to the story. Master, that person is indeed immortal. There is no spiritual energy fluctuation on his body. Hua Qin Yun replied respectfully. Wang Luoli also nodded in agreement. No, you're all wrong. To be able to use sword intent to break the slave mark, and with such a terrifying sword intent, he can't be an ordinary person. This senior must have hidden his cultivation. With your strength, it's hard for you to see through him. Now, let's go and find that senior again. He saved Lear's life. No matter what, we should thank him. Perfected Qin Yun said solemnly. At the same time, something was happening in the Dongxing continent. There was a dark secret chamber. Outside of the secret chamber, more than 10 layers of terrifying power enveloped it. Even if a cultivator at the peak of the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation stage attacked with all his might, he wouldn't be able to move it. In the secret room, a dozen figures could be vaguely seen sitting on both sides of the long table. One of the seats was empty. It was Black Fiend Daoist's seat, but now he was dead. Black Fiend is dead, and Mu Jiohuang has appeared in the 9 Phoenix dynasty. What do you all think? The leader said in a deep voice. Black Fiend's death was too bizarre. Although his strength was slightly weaker than Mu Jiohuang's, Mu Jiohuang was seriously injured, and her realm dropped. She didn't have the ability to kill Black Fiend. An ear-piercing sound rang out. It was extremely sharp, as if a fingernail had slipped on glass. I agree. The weakest of the people present was of the Sage Sovereign realm. It was almost impossible to kill them in a battle of this level. Moreover, Black Fiend Daoist was killed in an instant. Therefore, I suspect that there's an expert in Daong Town who's far more powerful than Black Fiend. This is the only explanation for his sudden death. So, I have a plan. The person in the middle, wearing a white skull mask, spoke again. After a long while, a man walked out of the secret chamber. With a move of his body, he appeared in front of Daong Town. If Mu Jiohuang were here, she would recognize the man as the head of the Black Chess sect, the Black Blood Chess Saint. He was Black Fiend Daoist's twin brother. Could he be a powerhouse of the greater vehicle realm? Forget it. I'll put aside the plan I'm carrying out on my side for now. I'll set up the Black Blood chessboard and wait and see. With a wave of his hand, the Black Blood Chess Saint threw out a blood-colored chessboard, which instantly enveloped the entire Daong Town. That was the divine power of destiny of the Black Blood Chess Saint, the Black Blood chessboard. Unless someone broke his game, the Black Blood chessboard would suck the souls of all the cultivators and mortals in Daong Town within 10 days and turn them into chess spirits. Humph, no matter who you are, don't even think about leaving Daong Town during this period. Since you dared to ambush my big brother, you must die. The Black Blood Chess Saint said coldly. In his opinion, the Black Fiend Daoist had been killed because of the enemy's sneak attack. After checking the enchantment again, Black Blood Chess Saint turned and left. The giant chessboard was hidden above the clouds, and the blood-black aura floated around it. No one noticed it at all. Just as Black Blood Chess Saint left. In the small courtyard, Mu Jiohuang shrieking and begging for mercy could be heard. Master, I can't do it. Master, please don't do this. Master, I can't do it. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Mu Jiohuang was frantically rejecting him. She didn't dare to feed the tortoise. That was the black tortoise. Why can't you feed a tortoise? What's impossible about that? Xiao Changtian was speechless. He was teaching Mu Jiohuang how to feed the tortoise. After all, with a maid, he didn't have to do this work himself. He was also very bored facing the green tortoise every day. However, she did not expect Mu Jiohuang to say no. Xiao Changtian cursed in his heart. Isn't it just feeding a green tortoise? If you can't even do this, what's the use of having a maid like you? To warm my bed. I'm that kind of person. I'm scared. I don't dare to feed him, Mu Jiohuang's voice trembled. That was the black tortoise of the greater vehicle realm. She had eaten the egg of the black tortoise. It would be strange if the black tortoise didn't kill him. What are you afraid of? It's just a green tortoise. This tortoise is not even as big as your palm. Xiao Changtian ridiculed. He looked at the green tortoise helplessly and said coldly, "She'll be feeding you in the future. If you scare her again, I'll chop you up and make you into soup, do you hear me?" The green tortoise was so scared in the pool that it shivered and nodded hurriedly. This green-furred tortoise has a small stomach and can't eat much. When feeding it, feed it one by one. Xiao Changtian patiently instructed. That was a system character, and he was already waiting to open the path of invincibility. Yes. Sensing Xiao Changtian's anger, the black tortoise no longer treated her as an enemy. Mu Jiuhuang quickly took half a bowl of corn and began to feed it into the pool. Pft! Corn grain was thrown in, and a few bubbles floated under the water. The green tortoise swallowed the corn grain in one bite and stared at Mu Jiuhuang, indicating that she should feed him one more. Seeing that Mu Jiuhuang had learned to feed the tortoise, Xiao Changtian lay down on the rocking chair. In his mind, he was thinking about the 5 taels of gold. What if those 2 people came looking for him? Should he return the money or not? As he thought about it, Xiao Changtian began to take a nap. Mu Jiuhuang was feeding the black tortoise with a trembling expression. She finally saw the black tortoise burp and put down half a bowl of corn. The moment she raised her head, her expression changed. Black blood chessboard. As a 9th-level Heavenly Tribulation Realm expert, Mu Jiuhuang was just one step away from entering the Greater Vehicle Realm. She had eaten the black tortoise's egg before, so her perception ability was sharper. Senior Black Tortoise, what's this? Mu Jiuhuang looked at the green tortoise with a gloomy expression. Although the black blood chessboard could not do anything to her, she could not break it either. Therefore, Mu Jiuhuang wanted to ask the black tortoise to help. I can smash this chessboard with one palm, but Doggy likes to play chess. Let him play. The black tortoise looked at the puppy in the kennel and said indifferently. That dog? Mu Jiuhuang was shocked. She looked at the kennel and suddenly found that the little puppy had already drawn a chessboard on the ground. The arrangement on the chessboard was the same as the black blood chessboard. The cute little puppy pushed the stones as chess pieces, and on the black blood chessboard in the clouds, a white chess piece moved. On the black blood chessboard, countless vengeful souls began to shriek miserably. They were all chess ghosts refined by the black blood chessboard. At the same time, perfected Qin Yun, Hua Qin Yun, and Wang Luoli had just arrived outside Daong town. Black blood chessboard. Is this the black blood chess saint's doing? Perfected Qin Yun was shocked. The black blood chess saint was more powerful than him and had killed so many people that even perfected Qin Yun did not want to provoke him. Someone from Daong town made a move. Suddenly, he was shocked. He saw an unknown force in Daong town, driving the white chess pieces on the chessboard toward the black chess pieces. He was going to play against the black blood chess saint. Perfected Qin Yun was shocked. Although black blood chess saint wasn't the strongest, his divine mandate, the black blood chessboard, could kill anyone who dared to play against him, even if they were at the 9th level of the Heavenly Tribulation Realm. Once he played against the black blood chess saint, he would enter the world of the black blood chess saint. He could only survive if he surpassed black blood chess saint in the game. Could it be that senior? Perfected Qin Yun was confused. He frowned and stared at the game, wanting to witness the realm of this master. This expert dared to play against the black blood chess saint, which was already a feat that no one in the world could do. The senior's strength and realm were definitely above his. Above the clouds, the black blood chess saint seemed to sense something. His expression changed slightly, and he opened his eyes. In front of him was a small black chessboard. The lines on the board were all blood-colored as if blood was flowing. On the chessboard, a white piece moved and fell on the position of Tian Yuan. It was the piece that the cute little puppy had placed. You finally made your move. I didn't expect that you would want to play chess with me. What a courageous choice. Black blood chess saint grinned. It had been many years since anyone dared play a game with him. "Black blood, don't be careless." A heavy voice rang out. In the dark secret room, more than a dozen pairs of eyes were using their great supernatural powers to watch the game. They all wanted to find that master because, according to their speculation, this person was likely to be a master of the greater vehicle realm. This expert had already effected their first plan. They had used Mu Jilhuang's blood as a sacrifice to the ancient door. They could not afford to fail a second time. Black Blood Chess Saint did not answer. He picked up a black chess piece and placed it next to Tian Yuan. That was his way of killing chess, using chess to create killing, using chess to bear karma, and escaping from it. As such, the chess ghost on the chessboard had already been infected by karma. Anyone who played against him and lost the game would be devoured by karma, and their souls would be destroyed. Therefore, none of the people who played against him could survive. He was the same. If he lost the chess game, he would be entangled by karma and burned to death by the fire of karma. However, he had absolute confidence in his chess skills. The man in the clouds waved his sleeve and placed a chess piece. The puppy was lying on the ground, playing chess with its eyes closed. The black blood chessboard in the sky above Daong Town had turned into a battlefield of slaughter. Countless pairs of eyes were staring at the game in shock. This person's chess skills are on par with Black Blood Chess Saint. Perfected Qin Yun stood outside the chessboard. He was shocked and in disbelief. He could not even use words to describe his shock. He didn't expect every step he took to be filled with killing intent, which terrified him. If he were to play against the Black Blood Chess Saint, he would die within 10 moves. Is that senior so powerful? Mu Jilhuang was equally shocked. Although she had the Emperor's fate of 9 phoenixes, and the chessboard could not affect her, she would die if she were to play against the Black Blood Chess Saint. Senior Black Tortoise, may I ask what Senior Dog's real body is? Mu Jilhuang asked respectfully. Sky-devouring dog, the Black Tortoise said indifferently. What? Mu Jilhuang was extremely shocked. The ancient divine beast, the sky-devouring dog, was rumored to be a beast that could swallow the sky. No wonder. Black Tortoise, sky-devouring dog, each one of them is ferocious. However, these beasts all listen to my master. What is his realm, then? She thought. Mu Jilhuang looked at Xiao Changtian, who was taking a nap and could not imagine it. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. This person can play chess with black blood and get a tie result. A hidden danger. He is a huge hidden danger. This person must die. In the secret room, the sharp voice rang out again. Black Blood Chess Saint sat on the clouds, and his expression changed. For thousands of years, no one could stand on equal footing with him. It's been so long since I've been so serious in a chess game. Black Blood Chess Saint's expression was calm, and his eyes were focused. The speed at which he placed his pieces was 10 times faster than before. All the chess ghosts hidden on the black blood chessboard burst out at that moment. Killing aura. He was already gathering his killing intent. The moment the outcome of the game was decided, the other party would be devoured by the chess ghost who carried the karma. The dense chess moves, rapid attacks, and meticulous planning completely changed the situation. At that moment, Black Blood Chess Saint had gained the upper hand. Oh no, Black Blood Chess Saint will win if this continues. Perfected Qin Yun exclaimed. On the chessboard, the black pieces had formed a formation of 2 dragons, while the white pieces were trapped in the shallow water. That person's true face is about to be revealed. In the secret room, more than a dozen people were happy. Even if they were in the greater vehicle realm, they would be seriously injured in the face of the power of karma on the black blood chessboard. In the small courtyard, Mu Jilhuang looked at the black tortoise in shock. Senior, the black blood chessboard carries karma. If this goes on, Mu Jiuhuang became nervous. Don't worry. Doggy is just playing with him. Doggy, get serious, Black Tortoise said indifferently. Upon hearing this, the puppy, who had his eyes closed earlier, suddenly opened his eyes. When he opened his eyes, a brilliant sky-devouring dog's dharma appeared behind him. The sky-devouring dog opened its mouth as if it wanted to swallow the entire sky. Mu Jiuhuang once again felt her breathing stop. The aura of the sky-devouring dog was too terrifying. The cute little puppy pushed the stones on the ground, and the white pieces on the chessboard moved at an even faster speed. In an instant, like a white dragon emerging from the sea, he killed all the black chess pieces surrounding him. In an instant, the chessboard was flipped. The overall situation was set. Black Blood Chess Saint, defeated. What? At this moment, Mu Jiuhuang, Perfected Qin Yun, and the sect members in the secret chamber all had the same expression. 15 minutes. Only 15 minutes passed. This game of death had already been turned around. Ah! Are you a human or a ghost? The chess spirits engulfed Black Blood Chess Saint in endless flames. He looked extremely pained and shouted in disbelief. He did not expect that he would lose in a chess game. He didn't even see who the other party was, and his soul was destroyed in the endless flames of karma. Black Blood is dead. This person from Daong Town must die, or he will affect our grand plan. From today onwards, stop all plans and get rid of this person first. On the main seat, the leader of the group, who was wearing a white skull mask, said in a deep voice. In an instant, undercurrents began to surge. On this day, countless undercurrents were flowing toward Daong Town. Enter Daong Town. How could Perfected Qin Yun not understand that the young man was at least at the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation realm? It might even be the legendary greater vehicle realm. He immediately seized the opportunity and flew into Daong Town. Yes. Hua Qin-yun and Wang Luoli were still in shock. They answered in a low voice and followed behind Perfected Qin-yun. They had never seen a battle of this level before and were dumbfounded. At the same time, in the small courtyard, Xiao Changtian woke up. As soon as he walked over, Xiao Changtian found the chess game on the ground. You're pretty smart. You know how to play chess. Xiao Changtian's face was filled with joy. He recalled that there was also a dog like this in his previous life. I haven't thought of your name yet, so you'll be Alpha, then. Xiao Changtian looked at the cute little puppy and smiled faintly. He even had the idea of playing a game of chess with the dog. Come. You set the chess. I'll play with you. Xiao Changtian also wanted to see how this cute little dog played chess. It just so happened that a month ago, his chess skills had already reached great success. Knock. 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 At this moment, there was a knock on the courtyard door. Jior, open the door. Xiao Changtian said indifferently. However, he suddenly thought of something and wanted to stop Mu Jiuhuang. However, it was too late. She had opened the door of the small courtyard. Xiao Changtian looked over and saw Hua Qin-yun, Wang Luoli, and a burly man. Are they here to find trouble with me? Whenever he thought of the terrifying means of flying and burrowing immortal cultivators, Xiao Changtian was afraid. He turned and walked into the house. What should I do? Should I refund the money to them? At the small courtyard entrance, the four people saw each other. Emperor Jiuhuang. Perfected Qin Yun. Mu Jiuhuang and Perfected Qin Yun looked at each other. As experts of the heavenly tribulation realm, they knew each other. I was wondering who killed Black Blood Chess Saint. It turns out to be you, the great emperor, Perfected Qin Yun said in realization. No. It's him. Mu Jiuhuang shook her head and looked at the puppy with respect. Perfected Qin Yun frowned as he stared at the puppy. Emperor, don't joke around. Isn't that just a little puppy? However, before he could finish his sentence, the giant sky-devouring dog's dharma suppressed him so much that he could not breathe well. Behind him, Hua Qingyun and Wang Luoli spat out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying. Sky-devouring dog. Perfected Qingyun was dumbfounded. He had never thought a little puppy would be the legendary sky-devouring dog. The aura of this sky-devouring dog completely suppressed him. From the corner of his eyes, he could see that Mu Jiuhuang was also trembling. Even Emperor Jiuhuang's 9th-level heavenly tribulation realm couldn't resist. Could it be that this sky-devouring dog was in the greater vehicle realm? I'm sorry for offending you. Please withdraw your divine power, Perfected Qingyun apologized immediately. Seeing that Perfected Qingyun lowered his stance, the cute little puppy retracted his dharma. Phew! Both Mu Jiuhuang and Perfected Qingyun heaved a sigh of relief. Perfected Qingyun, I'm the weakest in front of the master. Don't talk nonsense, do you understand? Mu Jiuhuang quickly reminded after experiencing the sky-devouring dog's anger. Yes, of course. Perfected Qingyun and his 2 disciples nodded, but they were even more shocked. They seemed to have heard Emperor Jiuhuang say the word master just now. Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Master. The great Emperor Jiuhuang actually called him master. What kind of person could become Emperor Jiuhuang's master? The 3 of them were stunned at the door, not knowing if they should go in or not. In the room, Xiao Changtian was pacing back and forth anxiously. What do I do? Are they cultivators? I can't afford to offend them. But if I just leave Jiuer outside alone, what if they make a move on her? She's my maid, after all. I can't let her be bullied, Xiao Changtian thought to himself. He took 2 deep breaths and walked out of his room. If there's anything, just talk to me, Xiao Changtian feigned calmness, but in reality, he was panicking. Master, the 3 of them are looking for you, Mu Jiuhuang said. I know, Xiao Changtian nodded. He recognized the 2 people standing at the back. They were the man and woman who had bought the calligraphy piece. As for this burly man, it was obvious that he was their guardian who had come to demand an explanation. It seems that the matter today is going to be difficult to settle, Xiao Changtian thought to himself as he started to panic. Today's matter was very difficult to resolve. If 3 cultivators made a move, then wouldn't he be unable to step on the path to invincibility? He couldn't lose his life before he reached invincibility. However, he couldn't lose his dignity either, or these cultivators would easily take advantage of him. About that calligraphy piece, just as Xiao Changtian was about to speak, Perfected Qingyun knelt. Thank you, Senior. That calligraphy piece saved my daughter's life, Perfected Qingyun said excitedly. If it wasn't for the sword intent contained in the calligraphy piece, the mark in Wang Luoli's dantian would have taken root after some time. At that time, even the gods would not be able to save her. Many thanks to Senior for saving my life, Wang Luoli also knelt. Now that she thought about it, it seemed that Senior had been waiting for her on purpose. This was all part of the Senior's plan. Otherwise, why would she have been attracted by the calligraphy piece and insisted on buying it? It must be the Senior's doing. The Senior had put in so much effort just to save her. Where could one find such a kind-hearted Senior expert? Senior, I was disrespectful to you before, please don't take it to heart. After witnessing the might of the sky-devouring dog, added to the fact that even Emperor Jiuhuang was the Senior's maid, a sense of fear welled up in Hua Qingyun's heart. To think he had previously addressed the Senior as a mortal. At the thought of this, Hua Qingyun's legs couldn't help but tremble. He immediately knelt and hurriedly admitted his mistake. Xiao Changtian. He was dumbfounded. Weren't these people here to cause trouble? Why did they all kneel to him? Could it be that they felt that his calligraphy was awesome, so they came to thank him? It seemed that this was the only plausible reason now. Stand up. It's just a piece of calligraphy, Xiao Changtian said indifferently. Since the other party wasn't here to cause trouble, then the matter was easy to handle. Many thanks, Senior, perfected Qin Yun, and the other two quickly expressed their gratitude and stood up. Senior, I wonder if I can buy another piece of your calligraphy. I haven't been able to make a breakthrough recently, perfected Qin Yun asked carefully, his eyes darting with anxiousness. If he could buy such a divine item, wouldn't he be able to fly? No matter the price, he would not hesitate. However, perfected Qin Yun also knew that such a divine item was extremely precious, and the senior might not sell it to him. Of course, Xiao Changtian laughed. It seemed that this cultivator really liked calligraphy. The other party probably knew that he had no hope of achieving a breakthrough in calligraphy, so he wanted to copy a master's work. This was a good thing. He could even give the other party a few more pieces. However, the price would definitely not be lower than before. Then I'll stick to 10 taels of gold for one painting. Can you accept this price? Xiao Changtian looked at perfected Qin Yun, observing his reaction. Cultivators were usually not short of money, but they were not fools. If perfected Qin Yun felt that the price was not suitable, he could lower it. 10 taels of gold. Perfected Qin Yun was stunned. Such a divine item was only worth 10 taels of gold. Wasn't this too cheap? Where else could he find such an opportunity? Senior, I'll take it, perfected Qin Yun quickly said. He took out 10 taels of gold from his sleeve and was about to hand it over to Xiao Changtian. Xiao Changtian looked at the 10 taels of gold and was overjoyed, but on the surface, he still pretended to be calm. Master, 10 taels of gold, Mu Jiuhuang could not bear to watch any longer. To think her master's calligraphy piece, which contained peerless sword intent, was bought by this old thief for just 10 taels of gold. This was a huge loss. She wanted to say that 10 taels of gold were too cheap. Jiuer, shush, before Mu Jiuhuang could finish, Xiao Changtian interrupted her. This was 10 taels of gold. So what if it was a little more expensive? He was thinking about their happy lives. The little girl shouldn't ruin his plans. After being shushed by Xiao Changtian, Mu Jiuhuang pursed her sexy red lips. Could it be that the senior has some profound meaning? Why would he give away a piece of calligraphy for just 10 taels of gold? Mu Jiuhuang started to guess. Xiao Changtian then wrote another calligraphy piece for perfected Qin Yun. The other party was a rich customer. In just a few days, the other party had given him 15 taels of gold. That was 15 taels of gold. At least for the next 2 to 3 years, food and clothing would not be a problem. Xiao Changtian invited them to stay for a meal, which was cooked by Mu Jiuhuang. Perfected Qin Yun ate nervously. After the meal, Xiao Changtian and the puppy started to play chess. Isn't this the game on the black blood chessboard? Perfected Qin Yun and Mu Jiuhuang both looked at the chessboard. The puppy had placed the chess pieces exactly the same as the way they had been on the black blood chessboard. Alpha, your game has too many flaws. Xiao Changtian was in a good mood. He said with a smile and placed a few pieces. The black pieces were instantly all blocked. There was no way for the black chess pieces to survive. Both Mu Jiuhuang and perfected Qin Yun were shocked. The senior's chess style was at least dozens of times better than the puppy's. In just a few moves, he had completely sealed off the black chess pieces' paths, and there was no chance for the other party to counterattack at all. Woof, the puppy was a little unconvinced and asked Xiao Changtian to play another round. Just like that, more than 10 rounds passed, and the puppy was on the verge of a breakdown. Xiao Changtian had used more than a dozen completely different methods for the same chess game. Each of them was completed in a few simple steps. Even the sky-devouring dog, which had easily defeated the black blood chess saint, was on the verge of a breakdown. Such a terrifying senior. Perfected Qin Yun, Hua Qin Yun, and Wang Luoli all gasped. It was too terrifying. If Senior were to make a move, the Black Blood Chess Saint would probably be killed with a flip of the former's hand. At the same time, a severely injured young man appeared in Daong town. A bloody hole was in his chest. Am I going to die? The young man's face was pale, and he saw a small courtyard in his blurry vision before he fainted. Chapter 12. Chapter 12. Early in the morning, the sky was still dark. The dewdrops on the leaves were crystal clear. Xiao Changtian had already gotten up and warmed up his body. He opened the door of the small courtyard and was ready to go buy groceries. With 15 taels of gold, he would be able to have meat for every meal. It was wonderful. With a creak, the old wooden door was opened. Fu. CK, Xiao Changtian was shocked. There was a person lying in front of his door. He took a closer look and saw that there was a bloody hole in the man's chest. It can't be that this guy is here to extort us, right? Xiao Changtian was shocked. He looked around but didn't see anyone. After confirming that it wasn't extortion or framing, Xiao Changtian squatted and checked the person's pulse. He's still breathing. Xiao Changtian was overjoyed. Although there was a bloody hole in the other party's chest as if something had been dug out, whatever happened to the youth didn't hurt his heart. With his mastery in medical skills, he determined that this person could still live. Jior, come out, Xiao Changtian shouted. Master, what's wrong? Mu Jilhuang quickly came out of the house, still a little sleepy. She didn't know why, but since coming to the senior's small courtyard, she would feel tired. However, when she woke up every morning, she would find that the vital spirit in her dantian seemed to have become more abundant. Carry this man into the house, I'll save him, Xiao Changtian ordered, thinking that the two of them would carry him together. Mu Jilhuang easily picked up the young man with both hands and walked into the small house. This little girl looks weak, but she's unexpectedly strong, Xiao Changtian looked at Mu Jilhuang's back and smiled faintly. In the future, the work of carrying water and chopping wood could be handed over to the girl. The more he thought about it, the more satisfied he was with her. Master, how can we save him? His life is already hanging by a thread. Mu Jilhuang placed the young man on the bed and asked in confusion. She could feel that this young man's life force was extremely tenacious. There was even a faint golden tinge in his blood, which contained a mysterious power. That was why the young man had been able to survive until now. But even if she wanted to save him, she couldn't. What's so difficult about it? Since his heart is not injured, just one surgery will do, Xiao Changtian said indifferently. With his mastery of medical skills, he would definitely be able to save the youth. If the other party really couldn't be saved, there was nothing he could do about it either. He could only do his best and leave it to fate. What was important was not whether the youth could be saved, but whether he would save him. Fortunately, he had transmigrated from the blue planet and had not lost his heart of morality. Otherwise, no one would save anyone else in this world of cultivation. Surgery. Mu Jilhuang was stunned. She had never heard of this before. Could this be some kind of the senior's divine power? Master, what do I need to do? Mu Jilhuang asked respectfully. You, Xiao Changtian left all the preparations for the surgery to Mu Jilhuang. Go get some healing pills from the inn. Buy the good ones. Take these 15 taels of gold. Xiao Changtian's heart was bleeding. He had been thinking of improving his life, but the 15 taels of gold were gone in the blink of an eye. However, he had no choice. The healing pills at the inn were very effective, though expensive. I won't let you die. But after I save you, you have to pay me 20 taels of gold. Xiao Changtian looked at the young man lying on the bed with a determined expression. Not long after, Mu Jilhuang had prepared everything required for the surgery according to Xiao Changtian's instructions. As for the pill, Mu Jilhuang took out a healing saint pill from the Nine Phoenix dynasty. After all, the quality of the pills at the inn was simply too poor. Wait for my instructions at the side. Yes, Mu Jilhuang stood to the side, her face full of curiosity. This was the first time she had heard the word surgery, and her eyes were fixed on Xiao Changtian's movements. Xiao Changtian slit the young man's chest open. Mu Jilhuang, who was watching from the side, was shocked. The young man was already seriously injured. By doing this, wasn't the senior killing the young man instead? However, what happened next shocked her. After Xiao Changtian finished the series of operations, he sewed up the young man's chest. He then fed the young man the healing pill, and the young man began to show signs of life. He'll be able to wake up by tomorrow, Xiao Changtian said indifferently as he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Even though he had mastered profound medical skills, this was the first time he had performed surgery on someone else. There was a life and 20 taels of gold on his back. So this is surgery. Mu Jilhuang looked at the young man who was gradually recovering and was shocked. This method was too magical. Alright, you look after him. I'll go outside and lie down for a while. Xiao Changtian walked out of the room and laid down on the rocking chair to take a rest. It was his first surgery, and it was extremely exhausting. The next day, the young man woke up and opened his eyes at noon. The first thing he saw was Xiao Changtian and Mu Jilhuang. You two saved me. The young man opened his eyes, his voice extremely weak. In his mind, endless hatred surged, and his eyes burned with anger. Ah! His emotional fluctuations affected the injuries on his body, causing him to cry out in pain. Young man, don't move around, or the recovery time will be delayed, Xiao Changtian reminded him. The earlier the other party recovered, the earlier he could get the money. 20 gold taels, not a single copper less. Alright, the young man nodded and closed his eyes, temporarily suppressing his anger. By the way, what's your name? Xiao Changtian asked. Yi Fan, the young man replied calmly. When he opened his eyes again, his gaze was filled with gratitude. Okay, Xiao Changtian nodded his head. The young man in front of him didn't have any spiritual energy fluctuations. It seemed that he was also an ordinary person. Suddenly, Xiao Changtian's expression became a little unsightly. Since the boy was a mortal and was seriously injured, one look and one could tell that he was a poor kid with no money. The 20 taels of gold were probably down the drain. Ding! Detected that the host has saved his first disciple. Reward, Mortal Path Scripture. The system's notification suddenly sounded in Xiao Changtian's mind. Is this a celestial path cultivation technique? I can cultivate now. Xiao Changtian's face was filled with joy. Could he finally cultivate? The journey hadn't been easy. He was very pleased that the system had finally given him a cultivation technique. Xiao Changtian immediately flipped open the Mortal Path Scripture and saw all kinds of words on it, which looked extremely profound. Looking at the Mortal Path Scripture, Xiao Changtian felt that it was much stronger than the previous Earth Dog Fist. At the very least, the Mortal Path Scripture in front of him was more normal. It was like the martial arts manuals from his previous life, all of which had pictures of small people. It was just that Xiao Changtian couldn't quite understand. The small people drawings on this scripture seemed to be chopping firewood, carrying water, and growing plants. It was simply the work of mortals. Was this a cultivation technique? Was it fake? Xiao Changtian was dumbfounded. He couldn't understand this. Xiao Changtian wanted to curse the system in caps, F***ck. Also, what the hell? Yi Fan is my first disciple. I'm just a mortal, but I've taken in a disciple. Xiao Changtian questioned the system. However, after waiting for a long time, all he got in return was the system's silence. F*CKU, don't call yourself the never cultivate system anymore. You can just call yourself the silent system. Xiao Changtian was speechless. Chapter 13. Chapter 13. The next morning, Yi Fan's injuries had recovered slightly and he could walk. Many thanks to the senior for saving my life, Yi Fan said gratefully to Mu Jiuhuang. If it wasn't for Mu Jiuhuang's spiritual energy nourishing his meridians for the whole night, he wouldn't have recovered so quickly. No, the one you should really thank is my master, Mu Jiuhuang said lightly. Without Xiao Changtian's surgery, Yi Fan would not have survived. However, there is a faint golden color in your blood, which proves that you were born with spiritual bones. Why? Mu Jiuhuang stared at Yi Fan and said. Although she was Emperor Jiuhuang and wouldn't pry into other people's privacy, she could feel that Yi Fan's body had some kind of potential. It wouldn't even be an exaggeration to call the latter a heaven's favorite. The most important thing was Yi Fan's surname. She had heard before that the Yi family of the Xinyo continent had given birth to a youth with supreme bones more than 10 years ago. At that time, the news had shaken the entire continent. You. Who are you? When Yi Fan heard the words, born with spiritual bones, his expression changed and he took 2 steps back, on high alert. Seeing Yi Fan's reaction, Mu Jiuhuang was even more certain that Yi Fan was the eldest young master of the Yi family. I am known for the name Jiuhuang, Mu Jiuhuang replied indifferently and released her aura. The aura at the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation realm made it difficult for Yi Fan to breathe. Mu Jiuhuang only wanted to prove her identity so she did not use her aura to target Yi Fan. Otherwise, with Yi Fan's now mortal body in his broken dantian, the boy's bones would have been crushed. Emperor Jiuhuang. Yi Fan was shocked. As a member of the Xinyo continent's Yi family, he naturally knew about the 9 Phoenix dynasty, and even more so about Emperor Jiuhuang. The other party had cultivation in the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation realm. After the Emperor Death era, greater vehicle realm cultivators were non-existent, so those in the heavenly tribulation realm were invincible. Alright, there's no need for that. You should thank my master first. If it weren't for my master's heavenly medical skills, you wouldn't have been able to come back to life, Mu Jiuhuang said in a deep voice. Your master. Isn't my benefactor immortal? Yi Fan found it hard to understand, frowning. Although that person saved him, he had no cultivation. Why would Emperor Jiuhuang call that person her master? Emperor Jiuhuang was already the strongest on the mainland of Tianyuan. She was extremely arrogant. To think she would acknowledge a mortal as her master. Yi Fan wasn't a fool. As the young master of the Yi family and born with supreme bones, how could he be brainless? In just a moment, he thought of the key point. Is my benefactor a greater vehicle realm expert? Yi Fan looked at Mu Jiuhuang in surprise. It seemed that this was the only explanation. He had heard of Emperor Jiuhuang's story before. She was no weaker than anyone else. Mu Jiuhuang chuckled and shook her head. The senior's cultivation base has long since surpassed the greater vehicle realm. At the very least, he's at the ancient emperor realm. The ancient emperor realm? Yi Fan was stunned. The Yi family was a family with deep foundations in the Xinyo continent, so they naturally knew many secrets. The ancient emperor realm was above the greater vehicle realm. Experts in that realm were truly the undefeatable cultivators of the mainland of Tianyuan. However, it was rumored that all the ancient emperors had fallen. My hate. My supreme bones, my dantian, Yi Fan's heart was still burning with anger. Knowing that Xiao Changtian was an ancient emperor, Yi Fan's eyes suddenly shone with a bright light. In his mind, an unprecedented thought suddenly emerged. He wanted to be his benefactor's disciple. As long as he could become the disciple of an ancient emperor, he might be able to cultivate again. This was because the ancient records of the Yi family stated that ancient emperors were existences that could resurrect people. It shouldn't be difficult for the other party to recover his cultivation. He had to acknowledge his benefactor as his master. Thinking of this, Yi Fan immediately ran out and knelt on the ground. Xiao Changtian, who was warming up, was dumbfounded. "What are you doing? The boy can't possibly be thinking that he didn't need to return the 20 taels of gold just by kneeling, right?" "Senior, thank you for saving my life," Yi Fan kowtowed 3 times and a wound appeared on his forehead. Xiao Changtian hurriedly supported his head. If the boy hurt his head again, wouldn't he have to pay for it? At most, he could just write off the 20 taels of gold. Why did the boy have to hurt himself like this? "Senior, Yi Fan opened his mouth, wanting to become Xiao Changtian's disciple. "I agree to it," however, Xiao Changtian directly agreed before Yi Fan could finish his words. It was just 20 taels of gold. If the boy couldn't afford it, then so be it. He really couldn't stand Yi Fan's self-harming actions. "Really? Senior, you've agreed?" When Yi Fan heard this, his face was filled with joy. As expected of an ancient emperor. He hadn't even finished speaking and the other party already knew that he wanted to be his disciple. Yes, Xiao Changtian nodded his head, but his heart was bleeding. 20 taels of gold were gone just like that. "That's great. Master, please accept this bow from your disciple," Yi Fan bowed respectfully. "Master?" Xiao Changtian was stunned. Wasn't the boy talking about the 20 taels of gold? He wasn't surprised that Yi Fan wanted to be his disciple. After all, the system had given him a notification before. But now that Yi Fan had become his disciple, it seemed that he could not get the 20 taels of gold back either. After all, no master could ever ask for money from his disciple. Then, he thought of the cultivation technique rewarded by the system. If he couldn't understand it, he could let his disciple take a look. If his disciple could learn it, wouldn't it be great if he could reap the results for free? "Yi Fan, although you are my disciple, I will say this first. I'm just a mortal. The things I can teach you are only mortal things. So, you'll be like me for the rest of your life, a mortal. Are you still willing?" Xiao Changtian asked. If Yi Fan wanted to cultivate, wouldn't his action of taking the boy in as a disciple be wasting the boy's time? This matter had to be said first. A mortal? Yi Fan was startled. What did the senior mean by this? To think the ancient emperor called himself a mortal? Yi Fan frowned. He suddenly thought of some hidden experts he had met when he was young. All of them were no different from mortals. He had only found out later on that these experts had reached the simplicity returning realm. They had cultivated their hearts in the world of mortals and were but playing around in the human world. The senior must be the same. In fact, as an ancient emperor, the senior might be hiding in this tiny world of mortals and planning something big. "I'm willing," Yi Fan nodded his head in agreement. The mortals that followed ancient emperors were not something that ordinary cultivators could compare to either. Seeing Yi Fan nod, Xiao Changtian took out the Mortal Path scripture. "In that case, you can cultivate according to this cultivation technique. As for the parts you don't understand, you can slowly comprehend them on your own." "I will observe you regularly," Xiao Changtian said slowly. Yes, Yi Fan received the Mortal Path scripture and replied respectfully. "Work hard. I'm off to feed the dogs." Xiao Changtian patted his shoulder and left. Chapter 14. Chapter 14. The Mortal Path Scripture. Yi Fan had a confused expression as he read the first page of the cultivation technique. In that instant, he felt his mind go blank, and the world in front of him suddenly changed. He had come to a mountain village and was looking at an ordinary person who wore simple cotton clothes, worked at sunrise, and rested at sunset. Every day, the person farmed, chopped firewood, and fetched water, living in the mountain forests, never getting tired of it. Moreover, the person worked harder and more seriously every time he plowed. Gradually, after an unknown number of years, this person's appearance did not change, but his aura grew increasingly ordinary. Yet, the firewood he chopped was already ninth-level wood and the land he plowed was already the vast heavens. However, he didn't seem to notice all this, just like a mortal who didn't have spiritual energy. That was until the man went to chop firewood. The axe fell on the wood and seemed to be able to split the heavens. Yi Fan was so frightened that he trembled, and only then did he come back to his senses. So this is the mortal path scripture. To walk towards invincibility with the mortal path. Vindicate the heavens. Yi Fan was stunned. Compared to the ancient emperor realm, this was many times stronger. So much so that he didn't even dare to imagine it. It turned out that when his master had said things about being a immortal, he wanted him to cultivate the mortal path. Unknowingly, Yi Fan reached the last page of the mortal path scripture. There was only a line of words on it: return to mortality and achieve invincibility. Yi Fan was shocked beyond belief. If he cultivated this cultivation technique, he might only be able to reach 1/100th of the expert strength. But this was already enough for him to be an invincible existence on the mainland of Tianyuan. Thank you, Master, for your enlightenment, Yi Fan said gratefully. At the same time, in the Daong sect, Reverend Daong sat on his throne and stared down coldly. Speak. What happened? Which sect's disciple attacked you? Reverend Daong asked in a cold voice. In the hall were dozens of Daong's sect disciples with bruised noses and swollen faces. Sect Master, there has been an influx of cultivators of unknown origin in Daong town recently. They hurt mortals at will and simply ignore the rules set by our sect. The disciples were really angry, so they took action. That's right, Master. Those cultivators were too overbearing, and one of the disciples stammered as if he had something he couldn't say. And what? Reverend Daong said in a deep voice that sounded like he was going to lose his temper. The disciple shivered and quickly replied, we can't beat them. With that said, the disciples lowered their heads in shame, their faces flushed. What? Reverend Daong was completely enraged. To think a foreign sect was trying to bully his Daong sect. How could he endure this? Although the Daong sect has fallen to being a 9th-grade sect, we still have our past heritage. Do they really think we are pushovers by picking on us? Reverend Daong was extremely furious. His name was like thunder in Daong town. In fact, it was because of the existence of the Daong sect that Daong town was able to maintain its peace and tranquility. The previous 2 fights between experts had already made him feel very aggrieved. Now, after listening to the disciples' description that an 8th-grade sect dared to bully the Daong sect, he couldn't tolerate it anymore. It's been a long time since the Daong sect has displayed our true strength. I'll have to take action personally. Reverend Daong stood up with a furious expression. The vital spirit in his body surged and the aura of the Golden Core realm was unleashed, causing the disciples present to tremble uncontrollably. However, when they sensed the sect leader's powerful aura, all of them laughed while trembling. The sect leader is mighty. The sect leader is domineering. With the sect leader's help, we'll definitely be able to beat the crap out of those foreign sections. The disciples who had been beaten up were all cheering wildly. Reverend Daong was an expert in the Golden Core realm. In the eyes of these disciples, he was invincible. Let's go. Reverend Daong waved his sleeve and led the group to annihilate the few sections. In a dark secret room, at the head of the table was a man with a skull mask. He was observing the happenings in Daong town through a mirror. What's the point of all this? Sending a bunch of ants to Daong Town to cause trouble is just sending them to their deaths in front of that greater vehicle realm expert, an ethereal voice sounded, but there was no second person in the secret room. Whether that person is in the greater vehicle realm or not is to be determined. I'm mainly trying to confirm that person's identity. I suspect that he's one of the fish that escaped the net back then. As long as it's the same group of people from back then, they would definitely not sit by and do nothing when cultivators kill mortals, the skull-masked man said, and the dark secret room fell into silence again. The ethereal voice didn't ring out, as if it agreed. On the streets of Daong Town, Kaoshan sect and Zhejian faction were two 8th grade sects that had a total of about 100 people, most of whom were Foundation Establishment realm cultivators. They were currently running amok on the streets. Little sister, come play with me. I guarantee you'll reach heaven. Ahahaha. Damn it, is your watermelon not ripe yet? It should be destroyed. You sissy, get lost. I'll stab you every time I see you. The disciples from the two 8th grade sects were running amok on the streets, robbing people and committing all kinds of evil. They had already received orders from the sects to do whatever they wanted this time. They could do as much evil as they wanted, as they had someone backing them up. With that, these disciples immediately became unscrupulous. They had even gotten permission from the sects to injure the Daong sect disciples. The sect leaders of 8th grade sects were nascent soul realm experts with unparalleled strength, and even stronger than Reverend Daong. Stop, at this moment, Reverend Daong arrived. His face was filled with anger, just like his red eyebrows and red beard. A golden core realm expert. The disciples of the Kaoshan sect and Zhejian faction were all shocked to see him. One of the Zhejian faction's disciples even shivered in fear as if he had a problem. Do you know that this is the territory of the Daong sect? Could it be that my name as Reverend Daong is no longer enough to intimidate you bunch of juniors? Reverend Daong was extremely furious. His vital spirit surged and his figure instantly disappeared. Ah! Ah! Screams filled the streets. The disciples of the Kaoshan sect and Zhejian faction had their meridians destroyed in a few breaths. Daong Town is not a place where you can act so impudently. Reverend Daong's face was cold as he spoke in an icy voice. F***ck, he's that powerful. In a corner, Xiao Changtian, who was carrying the puppy out shopping, happened to see this scene and was shocked. To be able to knock down a few hundred people in a few breaths' time, Reverend Daong was really not for show. Fortunately, he heard that Reverend Daong had a good personality. Xiao Changtian left silently. He wanted to hurry back and tell his disciple and maid about how powerful Reverend Daong was. He didn't notice that the puppy opened its eyes to stare into the void coldly. Chapter 15. Chapter 15. Bang! Outside Daong Town, the sect leaders of the Kaoshan sect and Zhejian faction, who had been ready to strike at any moment, were killed in an instant. Even at their moment of death, they didn't know what had happened. In the dark secret room, the skull-masked man's mirror also cracked. Who? Xiao Changtian walked back home briskly and heaved a sigh of relief. Master, what's wrong? Mu Jilwang, who was feeding the green tortoise, asked in puzzlement. Yi Fan, who was chopping wood at the side, also put down his axe. What matter could make the senior so shocked? You guys didn't see it, but a group of foreign cultivators came to town. They were burning, killing, and pillaging on the streets. Xiao Changtian took a deep breath and paused. Could it be that someone has come to avenge Black Fiend Daoist? Could it be that the Yi family has come to find me? Mu Jilhuang and Yi Fan were both puzzled and even prepared to attack. However, the Daong sect's Reverend Daong made his move and single-handedly defeated over 100 people. That scene was truly spectacular. Back then, Xiao Changtian took a sip of tea and lay down on the rocking chair. Back when he transmigrated, didn't he want to become an invincible existence like that? It was a pity that the stupid system was blocking his way. Halfway through his words, he felt extremely aggrieved and could not continue. However, even though his pause was unintentional, the listeners took it seriously. Senior's tone seems to be extremely dejected. It's as if he has experienced a loss that has lasted for 10,000 years. What exactly did Senior experience back then? Mu Jilhuang's phoenix-like eyes were deep as she looked at Xiao Changtian's figure. She seemed to feel the loneliness of being at the top. Back then, she had also experienced that. However, she could feel that her feelings back then were totally incomparable to the senior's loneliness and loss. Master said that Reverend Daong defeated hundreds of people. Could it be that Senior killed hundreds of ancient emperors with a single slap back then too? Yi Fan thought of what the Mortal Path scripture said, return to mortality and achieve invincibility. Indeed, his master looked no different from a real mortal. Even if he knew his master's true identity, he would still think that his master was an ordinary person. His master was truly invincible. On the streets, after Reverend Daong defeated the hundreds of disciples from the Kaoshan sect and Zhejian faction, the people on the street knelt to thank him. Celestial. Thank you for saving our lives, Celestial. There was a hubbub of voices filled with gratitude. The contribution of the Daong sect in the many years of Daong town's peacefulness could not be ignored. It's fine. This is what I, Reverend Daong, should do. There's no need for you to remember my name, Reverend Daong, for such a small matter. Seeing the crowd's gratitude, Reverend Daong laughed as he emphasized. Master, do you want them to remember? Or not to remember? If they don't need to remember your name, why did you say it out loud? At the side, the head disciple of the Daong sect, Yang Dingtian, scratched his head and asked with some confusion. Days passed by peacefully. Ever since the last incident, Black Fiend Daoist's companions seemed to have stopped in their tracks and didn't make any more movements. As for Daong town, it returned to its peaceful state. In the small courtyard, Mu Jilhuang was feeding the turtle. The puppy could keep its eyes open now. Every day, Yi Fan chopped wood and carried water. He even plowed out a piece of barren land beside the chicken pen in the backyard and worked on the land hard every day. Recently, the ground was already green and full of vitality. Xiao Changtian lay on his rocking chair, still thinking about Reverend Daong's attack. When Yi Fan heard this, he quickly stopped his work and walked over. Master, I've come to realize that becoming a mortal is also a kind of supreme Tao, and also a path to becoming an expert. Xiao Changtian. He was dumbfounded. Wasn't this the cultivation technique rewarded by the system? Could it be that his disciple couldn't understand either? This is quite good. Xiao Changtian could only smile faintly. It seemed that his disciple had no fate with the celestial path in this life. However, Xiao Changtian himself was already suffering the pain of being unable to cultivate, and he could not let his disciple be discouraged as well. Thus, he looked at Yi Fan and encouraged, the mortal path is also a path. At any time, we must be optimistic and not lose our fighting spirit. Do you understand? I understand, Master. Yi Fan nodded and was filled with gratitude. His master knew that the mortal path was difficult, so he encouraged him. As such, he couldn't give up. He had to walk the mortal path to the end. No matter what, he couldn't let down his master's expectations. Yi Fan's gaze became increasingly determined, causing people to feel an endless fighting spirit. Seeing Yi Fan's determined gaze, Xiao Changtian nodded his head in relief and let Yi Fan leave. As for himself, he continued to lie down on the rocking chair and muttered, when can my path of invincibility be activated? In the room, Mu Jilhuang followed Xiao Changtian's instructions and cleaned the room. She didn't even let go of the dust under the table. What's this? While she was tidying up the table, she suddenly saw a book under the table's leg. Although it was dusty, the name still attracted her. Earth Dog Fist. Mu Jiuhuang was puzzled and flipped through the book. In an instant, her fair face was filled with shock, surprise, disbelief, and finally ecstasy. Her mouth was so agape that it could fit 2 eggs. She discovered that the book was actually a cultivation technique. A divine tier cultivation technique. It just so happened that she was in a difficult situation cultivating the 9 Phoenix Emperor technique. Even if she wanted to break through later, not only would she be affected by the current heaven and earth rules, but she didn't even know how to. After the Emperor Death era, all techniques above the greater vehicle realm were extinct. Now, she was at the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation realm and was the #1 cultivator on the continent, but in ancient times, cultivators in this realm were only relatively powerful ants. Now that she found the Earth Dog Fist, she seemed to have sensed the path to the greater vehicle realm. "Master, can I have this book? I can buy it from you." Mu Jiuhuang ran out of the room with a happy expression and looked at Xiao Changtian. "Earth Dog Fist. Sure, take it." Xiao Changtian was slightly stunned. "Just a lousy book." He didn't want it either, so he simply allowed Mu Jiuhuang to take it. "Thank you, master." Mu Jiuhuang's face was filled with joy. Her master was indeed a peerless expert. To think he gave away such a divine tier cultivation technique so casually. Chapter 16. Chapter 16. In the Kaoshan sect, Reverend Daong appeared. Beside him stood a man with a head full of red hair. He was the Daong sect's patriarch, Reverend Qi Yang. "That's strange. It seems like someone has made a move in advance." Reverend Qi Yang looked at the corpses on the ground with a puzzled expression. "Their bodies are still warm. Like those of the Zhetian faction, they were just killed." Reverend Daong squatted and examined the corpses of the Kaoshan sect disciples. He discovered that they had all just been killed. It was obvious that someone had done something to them before they arrived. But where did the sect leaders of the Kaoshan sect and the Zhetian faction go? Reverend Qi Yang asked doubtfully. At the same time, in Nanbu continent. In the beast-taming sect, a woman was riding on a snow wolf. She was wearing a tight-fitting white animal skin suit, which highlighted her curvaceous figure. The snow wolf beneath her exuded the majesty of a king. This woman was Chu Yiren, the daughter of the beast-taming sect's sect leader. As for the white wolf that she was riding, it was the beast-taming sect's sect leader's gift to his daughter for her 18th birthday, the Snow Wolf King. "Whitey, let's go out and pick a husband now." Chu Yiren had completely inherited beast-taming sect's sect leader's domineering style. With a wave of the leather whip in her hand, she commanded the snow wolf she was riding and left the beast-taming sect. "Elder Wang, please follow her. With her temper, she'll easily fall into a disadvantage." In the main hall, the sect leader of the beast-taming sect said to Elder Wang beside him. "Yes." Elder Wang nodded and replied. His figure flickered as he looked in the direction that Chu Yiren had left in, his eyes filled with love for a junior. Sigh, in the blink of an eye, Yiren is already such a big girl now. If my daughter was still alive, she would be around the same age, right? Elder Wang let out a sigh. His scarred face was filled with vicissitudes of life. Then, he turned into a shadow and followed Chu Yiren. He would never allow anyone to harm her. In the main hall, the sect leader of the beast-taming sect sighed as he watched the two of them leave. "Elder Wang, with you around, I'm assured of Yiren's safety. Even if we lose our beasts in the future, at least you'll look after her," the beast-taming sect's sect leader sighed. His eyes were filled with helplessness, and the beast-taming sect began to shake violently. It was as if there was some peerless monster making a ruckus underground. Chu Yiren had no idea about any of this. She rode on the snow wolf, speeding along. The one closest to the Nanbu continent was the Beihuang continent. The Snow Wolf King was very fast. In just one day, they arrived at the Qingyun sect in the Beihuang continent. Chu Yiren had heard that the Qingyun sect's eldest disciple, Hua Qingyun, was a peerless genius who was very handsome. Chu Yiren of the beast-taming sect has come to visit. In front of the Qingyun sect's main gate, Chu Yiren said in a deep voice. Her voice was accompanied by a surge of spiritual energy, allowing it to resound throughout the Qingyun sect. Two respected guests, please come in. Immediately, a deep voice rang out in the Qingyun sect. It was perfected Qingyun. 2. Chu Yiren furrowed her brows, a look of confusion on her face. Was he talking about her and the Snow Wolf King? In the next moment, Elder Wang could only laugh bitterly as he revealed his figure in midair and said, "Congratulations to Qingyun sect leader for the improvement in your strength." Elder Wang was also at the first level of the heavenly tribulation realm, and he knew perfected Qingyun. Logically speaking, perfected Qingyun should not have been able to discover him while still in the gates. After all, the two of them were in the same realm, and they were separated by such a long distance. He had even concealed his aura. But now, he had been discovered. He could sense that perfected Qingyun's aura had detected him. As such, he knew that he could no longer disguise himself, so he revealed himself. Uncle Wang. Chu Yiren's face was first filled with shock, then anger appeared on her pretty face. Did father ask you to come? Chu Yiren furrowed her brows, feeling a little displeased. She was already 18 years old, and according to the rules of mortals, she was already an adult. Yiren, the sect leader is just worried. Elder Wang could only helplessly smile. Humph, I'll settle this score with you guys when we get back. Chu Yiren flicked the whip in her hand, and while still on the Snow Wolf King's back, she flew into the Qingyun sect. Elder Wang followed closely behind. Qingyun sect's sect leader, you've made great progress. Upon entering, Elder Wang immediately noticed the abnormality. Perfected Qingyun's body seemed to have undergone a transformation, and his aura seemed to have become sharper. Ha ha ha, it's just so. Perfected Qingyun laughed and changed the topic. The senior was a reclusive expert who had hidden from the world of mortals. Naturally, he did not wish to be disturbed, so perfected Qingyun did not dare to reveal too much information. Yiren, why the sudden visit? Perfected Qingyun looked at Chu Yiren. I'm here to choose a husband. I've heard that your sect's head disciple, Hua Qingyun, is a genius, so I've come to pay a visit, Chu Yiren said frankly. There was no trace of the bashfulness of a young girl on her face. Instead, she looked haughty like the Wolf King. So that's how it is, perfected Qingyun's face lit up. To think his stupid disciple had a stroke of luck in romance. Hee, not bad. I'll call Qingyun out right now, perfected Qingyun said and sent out a message. Soon, Hua Qingyun and Wang Luoli appeared in the hall. Chu Yiren's eyebrows twitched slightly when she looked over. You're Hua Qingyun. In the small courtyard, Xiao Changtian was feeding the puppy. Ding! Detected that host has completed the feeding mission, cooking skill +1. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have achieved mastery in cooking skills. Xiao Changtian, who was holding the puppy, heard the system's voice in his mind. Mastery in cooking skills? Xiao Changtian was instantly happy. With mastery in cooking, he could cook some of the dishes from his previous life. The food in this world was basically for the mortals to fill their stomachs, so they didn't exactly taste great. As for the meat of demonic beasts, it contained spiritual energy. For an ordinary person like him, he didn't know if the spiritual energy would cause damage to his body, so he didn't dare to try it. Xiao Changtian looked at Mu Jiuhuang, who was cooking at the stove, and walked over. This isn't cut like this. Come, I'll teach you. Xiao Changtian took the spoon, but Mu Jiuhuang was nervous due to his sudden approach. She didn't dare to use her vital spirit in front of Xiao Changtian either. Due to a moment of carelessness, her body tilted to the side due to the force, making her fall directly into Xiao Changtian's arms. Xiao Changtian. In an instant, he recalled what had happened that night, and his blood instantly surged. Mu Jiuhuang, who had fallen into Xiao Changtian's arms, was so embarrassed that her neck was red. Coincidentally, Yi Fan, who had just finished chopping the firewood, saw this scene. "Hey, where's my axe? I think I left it outside." "Master, I didn't see anything." "I'm going to look for my axe." As Yi Fan spoke, he raised the axe in his hand and threw it out, then ran out to pick it up. Chapter 17. Chapter 17. Ahem, Xiao Changtian coughed. The fragrant wind that wafted into the tip of his nose caused his blood to surge. Afraid that he would faint, he quickly pushed Mu Jiuhuang away. "Jiuer, be careful next time. I'll teach you how to cut vegetables now," Xiao Changtian said softly, changing the topic. He came to the chopping board and raised the knife in his hand. Yes, Mu Jiuhuang's face was flushed and she almost buried her face in her chest. "Look carefully. For a vegetable like the ground melon, you must cut it along the lines of the melon. Just like this." Xiao Changtian demonstrated it himself. The ground melon was a special product of Dayang town. It looked like a potato, but the texture inside was complicated. If one didn't cut it according to the line texture, it would ruin the taste. Mu Jiuhuang watched carefully from the side, not daring to make any mistakes. Xiao Changtian's blade fell. Yi Fan, who had just picked up his axe, saw this and his expression changed. His master's strike didn't show any signs of using a knife. It didn't even carry any sword intent. It was as if he was really cutting vegetables. It was extremely ordinary. This is the true meaning of the return to mortality. Yi Fan exclaimed in his heart. He was still far from his master. Mu Jiuhuang was also watching with great interest. "I didn't expect such a peerless expert like the master to actually cook and be so skilled at it. Senior's cutting technique looks very simple, but it seems to have the unique charm of a certain skill that has reached mastery." As Mu Jiuhuang looked on, she was engrossed. Suddenly, she had an epiphany. The barrier of the realm in her dantian was thus broken by more than half. This, Mu Jiuhuang was shocked. The senior was really too strong. As expected, it was only right to follow the senior to comprehend the supreme Tao. In the Qingyun sect, Chu Yiren looked at Hua Qingyun and frowned. She shook her head and said, "You won't do for me." Hua Qingyun. Hua Qingyun was dumbfounded. The sect leader had simply informed him to come to the main hall. He didn't even know what was going on, and he was already told that he couldn't do it. "Young lady, you can eat whatever you want, but you can't just say whatever you want." Hua Qingyun's face darkened. He had already noticed the suspicious look in his junior sister's eyes. This made him very angry. Why was the other party spouting nonsense here? What if his junior sister misunderstood? "I don't feel anything toward you." Chu Yiren shook her head again. Although the man in front of her was handsome and had extraordinary cultivation, Chu Yiren did not feel any romantic feelings. "You," Hua Qingyun was speechless. He felt like his words had not been taken heed by Chu Yiren. "Qingyun, this is the daughter of beast-taming sect leader," Chu Yiren, perfected Qingyun introduced. "Oh, I see. I don't have any feelings for you either," Hua Qingyun replied. He wanted to reply to Chu Yiren so that she would feel the same feeling of being ignored. However, the result he was expecting did not appear. "Boring," Chu Yiren said disdainfully. She rolled her eyes at him and bid farewell to the sect leader, Senior Qingyun. "I'll take my leave." Then, she rode the Snow Wolf King and left the Qingyun sect, leaving the furious Hua Qingyun behind. Damn this Chu Yiren. I'm going to teach her a lesson the next time I see her. I'll let her know how powerful I am, Hua Qingyun said angrily. However, Wang Luoli, who was standing beside him, had a suspicious look on her face as if she was pondering over something. "Junior sister, you have to believe me," Hua Qingyun hurriedly explained. If this caused his junior sister to misunderstand, that would be a huge matter. Ha! Senior brother, why are you telling me this? Wang Luoli replied and left with a red face. Junior sister, you really have to believe me. After leaving the Qinyan sect, Chu Yiren's expression was gloomy. She had not expected that she would not feel anything for the head disciple of the Qinyan sect, a genius. After that, Chu Yiren visited a few other sects, but without exception, she felt nothing for all of the talents in those sections. Damn it, this is a huge continent, but I can't even find a husband. Chu Yiren sat on the snow wolf's back, looking helpless. Miss, let's find a nearby inn for a breather, Elder Wang consoled. Although they were cultivators and would not be tired, nor did they lack spiritual stones, Elder Wang could not stand it anymore. The young miss of his sect said straight to the faces of others that they won't do out of the blue. It was simply impolite. They should look for an inn to rest for the day, for now. He still needed to have a good talk with Chu Yiren about the whole matter. After all, he had been through this and knew more about courting. Alright, Chu Yiren sighed and had no choice but to agree. The nearest one is the Daong Sect's Inn. Elder Wang looked at the map and pointed ahead. The two of them then walked towards Daong Town's inn. To not scare the mortals, Chu Yiren had the Snow Wolf King shrink itself to the size of a large white dog. Let's go, why aren't you moving? Chu Yiren looked at the Snow Wolf King that was lying on the ground and frowned. Even Elder Wang's face darkened. The Snow Wolf King was trembling in fear. The Snow Wolf King was a powerful demon. Even if it was facing a heavenly tribulation realm expert, it would not be so afraid. The two of them thus stared at the approaching Xiao Changtian with vigilant eyes. Xiao Changtian had just finished his lunch and was taking Alpha out for a walk. Alpha could now walk on its own and didn't need Xiao Changtian to carry him. As Alpha and Xiao Changtian approached, the Snow Wolf King trembled even more. There's something strange about this man. Be careful, Elder Wang immediately sent a telepathic message to Chu Yiren. He stared at Xiao Changtian with a frown. He clearly felt that the Xiao Changtian was only a mortal. However, the Snow Wolf King's fear was also real. It was because of the appearance of this man and dog that the Snow Wolf King did not dare to move. Chu Yiren, who was at the side, was originally also on guard. However, when she saw Xiao Changtian's face, her heart suddenly beat faster, and her face unconsciously turned red. She could feel romantic feelings now. I'm Chu Yiren. Can you be my husband? Chu Yiren walked up to him and asked. Her breathing became rapid, and her body trembled uncontrollably due to her nervousness. Xiao Changtian. Elder Wang. The two of them were dumbfounded on the spot. What's the situation? Xiao Changtian looked at Chu Yiren, wondering if there was something wrong with this girl's brain. But he definitely couldn't say it out loud. After all, someone was behind this lady. He seemed to be this lady's elder. Young lady, please make way. I'm going home. Xiao Changtian picked up Alpha and looked at Elder Wang, who was standing behind Chu Yiren. Yiren, make way. Elder Wang quickly pulled Chu Yiren away. Chapter 18. Chapter 18. The night sky was as dark as ink, dotted with stars. Chu Yiren sat in her room. Xiao Changtian's figure was all she could think of. She did not hear a single word of Elder Wang's warning. This can't do, I'm going to find him. Chu Yiren felt that since she had feelings for Xiao Changtian, she should go to him. Miss, are you crazy? Elder Wang, who was standing at the side, was shocked. The person they bumped into in the afternoon was of unknown origin. Even he could not see through that person's cultivation level. He had never heard of such an expert in Daong Town. What if it was some old monster? Wouldn't he be sending a sheep into a tiger's mouth? To think the young miss still wanted to meet that person. What if she encountered danger? Absolutely not. Elder Wang rejected her sternly and stood in front of Chu Yiren. Elder Wang, since you're worried, you can come with me. Chu Yiren knew that since Elder Wang was blocking her way, she would not have a chance to leave. She could only compromise. Elder Wang's face darkened. Seeing the hope in Chu Yiren's eyes, he pondered for a moment before helplessly agreeing, very well. He was, after all, a cultivator in the first level of the heavenly tribulation realm. Even if the other party was very strong, it shouldn't be a problem for him to escape with the young miss. Moreover, as an elder of the beast-taming sect, his demonic beast was just as powerful. "Come out, Tiger King," Elder Wang said, and a huge white tiger suddenly appeared, exuding a powerful and terrifying aura. The third level of the heavenly tribulation realm. The people of the beast-taming sect were the most powerful in the path of beast-taming. He believed that with the cooperation between the Tiger King and himself, both heavenly tribulation realm experts, they would be able to escape even if they were facing a 9th-level heavenly tribulation realm expert. Elder Wang brought Chu Yiren with him and the two leaped into a small courtyard. In the courtyard, Xiao Changtian was sleeping soundly in his room. Mu Jiuhuang opened his eyes in the guest room. However, with the black tortoise and senior sky-devouring dog around, she could just rest easy. As for Yi Fan, he was also sleeping. After all, according to the habits of mortals, he should be sleeping now. The hatchet he used to chop firewood had a layer of faint silver-white light on it, though. The sharp blade of the axe bloomed with an unparalleled sharpness. The light swayed slightly as if it would slash out if the two dared to take another step forward. "He's in this room." With a sweep of her divine will, Chu Yiren found Xiao Changtian's location. Her face lit up with joy, and she stepped out, preparing to enter the room. Pooh! All of a sudden, in the pitch-black sky, two huge shadows appeared. Chu Yiren was sent flying backward by the aura, which was as deep as the ocean. She spat out a mouthful of blood in mid-air, falling like a kite with a broken string. "Miss!" Elder Wang was shocked. Under the pressure of the black tortoise and sky-devouring dog, he and the Tiger King found it hard to breathe. They lay on the ground, unable to move. Even the ribs in front of his chest made cracking sounds. He could only watch as Chu Yiren was sent flying, but there was nothing he could do. At the next moment, the black tortoise's cold gaze swept over him, making him feel as if he had fallen into an ice cave. A feeling more terrifying than death welled up in his heart, and he was sent flying. The next day, Xiao Changtian woke up early in the morning as usual. After a night, he was full of energy. His body was full of vitality. Sleeping early and waking up early does make one more energetic, Xiao Changtian smiled lightly. He took the puppy and went out for a walk. If it was before, he would not have been able to live such a life. However, ever since he took in a maid and a disciple, the former would feed the green tortoise and the latter would fetch water as well as chop firewood, so it was much easier for him. The green turtle in the pond was envious as it watched its master take the puppy out. Then, an aura locked onto Mu Jiuhuang's room. When she sensed the cold aura, Mu Jiuhuang's expression changed drastically. She hurriedly ran out and smiled bashfully, "Senior Black Tortoise, I'm sorry. I was breaking through last night, so I'm late today. But thank you for blocking the heavenly tribulation for me." At this moment, Mu Jiuhuang's aura seemed to have become more restrained. Her fair face seemed to have become even more radiant as it was filled with joy from the bottom of her heart. Just last night, she had comprehended the Earth Dog Fist and had thus broken through to the greater vehicle realm. At the critical moment when the heavenly tribulation was about to fall, the black tortoise and the sky-devouring dog made their moves, sending the heavenly tribulation flying. It was only last night that Mu Jiuhuang realized how powerful the two were. Even though she was now in the greater vehicle realm, Mu Jiuhuang still couldn't see through the cultivation of the black tortoise and the sky-devouring dog. In the beast-taming sect, blood was flowing like a river, and the ground was covered with the corpses of countless demonic beasts. Damn it! Do the heavens want the beast-taming sect to be destroyed? Chu Kuangren, the sect leader of the beast-taming sect, had an expression of endless grief and indignation. He could do nothing as he watched his sect disciples die one by one in front of him. His daughter and elder Wang had been seriously injured and had flown back to beast-taming sect in the early hours of the morning. If it was before, he would definitely take revenge for his daughter. But now... Sigh. Chu Kuangren could only sigh. The panda was about to break out of the seal. Its two forearms had already come out from the ground. When the panda fully came out, no one in the beast-taming sect would be able to suppress it. It would be a catastrophe. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, Chu Yiren and Elder Wang, who had been unconscious due to their severe injuries, woke up. Their eyes were still filled with fear. After a long while, the two finally came back to their senses. Yiren, Elder Wang, what happened to you two? Seeing that the two of them had woken up, Chu Kuangren hurriedly asked. To think with Elder Wang's strength, there was still someone who could injure them. Both Elder Wang and Chu Yiren hesitated. The scene last night was too terrifying. They had seen a phantom of a black tortoise that was taller than the sky and a divine dog that seemed to be capable of swallowing the world. They were like the masters of this world. Just thinking about the scene sent chills down their backs. Luckily, the black tortoise and sky-devouring dog didn't kill them. They only gave them a small lesson. Chu Yiren lowered her head, her beautiful eyes glimmering. No wonder the Snow Wolf King was so scared that it lay on the ground and didn't dare to move. So that divine dog was the legendary sky-devouring dog. That mortal, Chu Yiren thought of Xiao Changtian, and her face suddenly changed. That's right, even the puppy he was carrying was a divine dog, so how could that mortal be a real mortal? His cultivation realm was too high that I couldn't tell. Suddenly, Chu Yiren's eyes lit up, and her mind trembled. Roar! At that moment, a huge panda crawled out of the ground under the beast-taming sect where it had been sealed. Its body was black and white. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Its aura was explosive, and all the cultivators of the beast-taming sect fled in fear. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. Run! Help! The panda has broken the seal. Countless beast-taming sect cultivators formed hand seals, and countless streams of light flew toward the panda in an attempt to control its mind. However, the panda waved its hand, and the lights disappeared. Attack, quickly attack! An elder shouted in panic. Swords, spears, halberds, axes, hooks, and forks were all thrown at the panda. However, these iron weapons were like bamboo shoots as the panda held them and munched on them as if it was eating the most delicious food in the world. It sat down and ate slowly, producing an extremely crisp chewing sound. The disciples of the beast-taming sect gulped as they watched. If not for the fact that they knew that cultivators couldn't eat iron, they would have gone up and taken a bite themselves. Attack quickly, attack while the panda is eating. Seeing this, everyone's faces lit up. Fireballs, ice arrows, and poisonous mist. The beast-taming sect disciples commanded their demonic beasts to launch countless long-range attacks. Ding, 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 ding. However, when these attacks hit the panda, they were like a drizzle falling on an iron bed. They didn't have any effect at all, not even bringing the panda an itch. What do we do? We can't stop the panda from coming out, Chu Kuangren said resentfully. The panda was the mount of the beast-taming sect's founding ancestor, but who was the founding ancestor of the beast-taming sect? No one knew at this point. After all, this page had disappeared from the beast-taming sect's genealogy. Father, bring the beast-taming sect cultivators to the Beihuang continent. We'll have a chance to live once we reach Daong town. Chu Yiren, who had been deep in thought just a moment ago, suddenly raised her head and said. Daong town? Elder Wang was taken aback, and his expression suddenly darkened. That was where the black tortoise and sky-devouring dog were. He would rather die than go there. Roar! The next moment, the panda let out a furious roar. It had finished eating all the weapons. Sect leader, I think what the young miss said makes sense. Elder Wang immediately changed his mind. Very well, Chu Kuangren nodded immediately. Although he didn't know why his daughter and Elder Wang were so certain, there was no other way. Everyone, we will retreat to the Beihuang continent, Chu Kuangren shouted and retreated with the people of the beast-taming sect. After the people of the beast-taming sect retreated, a person walked out of the seal in the beast-taming sect. The man's face could not be seen clearly, and his body seemed to be shrouded in a layer of white mist. Why am I in the wrong place again? I'm following the instructions of fate, so how did I deviate from the right direction? The man mumbled and dusted himself. He took out a Tao compass and some of the white mist around him landed on the compass. The needle on the Tao compass spun a few times before stopping. The needle stopped and pointed at the north. The Beihuang continent. The Heaven Secrets compass should not be wrong. I'm heading there, the pavilion master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion said indifferently. In the Qin Yun sect, perfected Qin Yun's face was gloomy. He had found out who was trying to make a move on Wang Luoli. It was the Black Mountain Taoist who had planted the mark in Wang Luoli's dantian. Humph, this debt must be settled. Perfected Qin Yun snorted and led the disciples of the Qin Yun sect to the Heishan sect. In 15 minutes, the people of the Qin Yun sect arrived in front of the Heishan sect. Black Mountain Taoist, get out here. How dare you lay your hands on my daughter? To think you have the guts. Perfected Qin Yun bellowed. His voice was accompanied by a vibration of spiritual energy, and it whizzed out. The entire Heishan sect heard it clearly. How presumptuous! You, a first-level heavenly tribulation realm cultivator, dare to provoke me? Black Mountain Taoist roared and threw a punch at perfected Qin Yun. Although they were both heavenly tribulation realm experts, the difference between the first and second levels of the same realm was huge. Basically, in a battle, there was no chance for a first-level heavenly tribulation realm cultivator to kill a second-level heavenly tribulation realm opponent, but the latter could kill the opponent. Each level of the heavenly tribulation realm was so vastly different that the gap between levels was the distance between heaven and earth. Even if it was indeed possible that a second-level heavenly tribulation realm cultivator wouldn't be able to stop his opponent if the other party wanted to run, if they were to face each other head-on, the former would definitely have a higher chance of winning. Therefore, Black Mountain Taoist attacked perfected Qin Yun without any restraint. He had visited perfected Qin Yun a month ago. At that time, the latter was only in the first level of the heavenly tribulation realm. He had also placed the slave mark on Wang Luoli's body at that time. The first level of the heavenly tribulation realm. Looking at the Black Mountain Taoist, perfected Qin Yun smiled contemptuously and threw a punch as well. Bang! The Black Mountain Taoist was sent flying backward, his face pale. You! Third level of the heavenly tribulation realm. The Black Mountain Taoist was shocked and his expression changed to one of disbelief. This was impossible. In their realm, it was almost impossible to make any further progress, not to mention that perfected Qin Yun had broken through 2 levels in a month. Black Mountain Taoist was shocked. He looked at perfected Qin Yun and his face darkened. His escape route had been sealed off by the disciples of the Qin Yun sect. If he didn't kill perfected Qin Yun today, he would be killed by the latter instead. Humph, I want the Qin Yun sect dead. The Black Mountain Taoist roared and a black token appeared in his hand. With a crack, the token was crushed. Then, a huge millstone array started to spin under the Heishan sect. Ah! Countless Heishan sect's disciples let out blood-curdling screeches as they were ground into blood mist by the millstone array. The blood mist gathered and was devoured by Black Mountain Taoist. In the blink of an eye, his cultivation rose sharply and his aura became extremely brutal. He sent perfected Qin Yun flying with a punch. Ha ha ha, perfected Qin Yun, what can you do to me now? The Black Mountain Taoist laughed as he looked at Wang Luoli. Wang Luoli had a purine body, so the Black Mountain Taoist had his eyes on her for a long time. As long as he could eat Wang Luoli, with the help of the purine blood, his devilish technique would be greatly improved. At that time, he would have a chance to break through to the 9th level of the heavenly tribulation realm. By then, even if he were to face Mu Jiuhuang, he would have the confidence to fight. Ha ha ha, be good and let me eat you. The Black Mountain Taoist stretched out his hand and grabbed at Wang Luoli's chest. He wanted to grab the girl and devour her. Humph, you'll have to ask me first. Hua Qingyun stood in front of Wang Luoli and assumed a cool posture. Senior brother. Wang Luoli looked at Hua Qingyun. Junior sister, say no more. Your senior brother will always stand in front of you, Hua Qingyun said calmly. He wanted to prove that he was capable. He could already see his junior sister waving at him, wiping away her tears of being moved. However, in the next moment, the Black Mountain Taoist's big hand pressed Hua Qingyun into the ground, making a huge pit. Senior brother, I just wanted to remind you to be careful. Wang Luoli covered her eyes and couldn't bear to look at the state her senior brother was in now. Chapter 20. Chapter 20. To think a little piece of trash dares to get in the way, the Black Mountain Taoist said disdainfully as he looked at Hua Qingyun, who was pressed in the pit. His big hand once again reached out to grab Wang Luoli. Wang Luoli looked at the Black Mountain Taoist's big hand in despair. Luoli, perfected Qin Yun shouted as well, his face filled with anxiety. He was on his way back, but it was too late. Be eaten by me. Ha 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 ha. The Black Mountain Taoist laughed as he was about to catch Wang Luoli. All of a sudden, he felt as if the back of his collar was being pulled by a large hand. What's going on? The Black Mountain Taoist was dumbfounded. He turned his head only to see a huge beast. Seeing its huge mouth and sharp teeth, the Black Mountain Taoist did not doubt that the panda could swallow him whole. Run! The first thing the Black Mountain Taoist did was to use his vital spirit to tear his clothes apart and break free from the panda's restraint. He wanted to use his escape technique to escape, but the next moment, the panda slapped him to death. Run! This is a panda. We're not its match. Chu Kuangren's rough voice rang out. The people from Qingyun sect were not fools either, so they also started running. The panda chased while the people of the Qingyun sect and the beast-taming sect ran. Along the way, the demonic beasts in the mountain forest all prostrated on the ground, and the birds scattered in fright. The small courtyard was calm as ever. Mu Jiuhuang was feeding the turtle, while Yi Fan was chopping wood seriously. The current Yi Fan had a faint smile on his face, the hatred in his eyes had disappeared, and he was more like a mortal now. However, every crack on the firewood he chopped out was perfectly straight, as if it had been measured beforehand. Even if one slid one's hand down the edge of the chopped firewood, one wouldn't find any thorns or cuts on one's hand. I've finally reached the first stage of wood chopping, Yi Fan smiled faintly. Mu Jiuhuang occasionally glanced at Yi Fan, and each time, she became more curious. In her eyes, Yi Fan seemed to have cultivation at times and was immortal at other times with no cultivation at all. She was greatly shocked. One must know that she was now in the greater vehicle realm, yet she was unable to see through Yi Fan's current state. The only thing she could be sure of was that the current Yi Fan was more like a normal person. The aura of a celestial cultivator that he previously had seemed to have been washed away. As for Xiao Changtian, he was walking alpha, having a lot of fun. He even strolled to the Green Mountain outside town. There, he found a stone slab where he carved some lines on with a rock, making a simple chessboard. The man and dog started playing chess. Woof, woof, woo-woo. After more than 10 rounds, Alpha was dejected once more. Don't be so dejected. You can now play half a game against me. One day, Xiao Changtian encouraged Alpha as he patted his head. Alpha raised his head when he heard Xiao Changtian's encouragement. His large dog eyes were filled with anticipation as he waited for the second half of Xiao Changtian's sentence. Xiao Changtian smiled faintly. He didn't expect the dog given by the system to be so smart. He joked, "One day, you'll be able to play for a little while longer against me." Woo-woo, Alpha thought that Xiao Changtian was encouraging him, but he didn't expect Xiao Changtian to tease him instead. The puppy thus lowered his head and whimpered. Xiao Changtian laughed out loud when he saw Alpha's expression. It had been a long time since he had laughed so relaxedly. Woof, woof, suddenly, Alpha barked at the forest with a fierce look. Eh? What's in the forest? Xiao Changtian, who was laughing out loud, was also shocked. A dog's nose and senses were very sensitive. You'll be called Rongrong, Xiao Changtian said with a smile, using his hand to caress Rongrong's body, appeasing its mood. Not far away, the people from the Qingyun sect and beast-taming sect were originally running in a hurry, but after some time, they suddenly realized that no creature was chasing them. The panda isn't chasing us anymore, so what are you guys running for? A disciple at the back of the line asked. It's not chasing us anymore. I don't know either. I'm just following the person in front, the person in front answered. The crowd finally stopped. Perfected Qin Yun and Chu Quanren stopped in their tracks and looked at each other. They nodded and went back the way they came. They wanted to find out what had happened. After all, the panda wouldn't give up on them for no reason. Chu Quanren also wanted to go back and bury the dog's body. Hence, the people from the two sects slowly walked back the way they came from. Following this, the tens of thousands of people present all gasped. They actually saw the panda that had been chasing after tens of thousands of people being held by Xiao Changtian. Yet, it didn't even dare to make a sound. Hurry up and leave, don't disturb the senior's peace, Perfected Qin Yun said in a low voice and used his vital spirit to send the message to all disciples, asking them to leave. Previously, he had thought that the senior who had given him a calligraphy piece with sword intent was a greater vehicle realm expert. Even back then, he was already highly shocked. However, at this moment, he felt ignorant. He was like a frog at the bottom of a well who was shocked when he suddenly came out of the well and saw the vast sky. Everything he thought of was wrong. At this moment, he finally realized how insignificant he was. To think the senior could even play with the panda as he pleased. How could he merely be a greater vehicle realm expert? The senior was probably even more powerful than the greater vehicle realm. In fact, he might even be a legendary ancient emperor. Chapter 21. Chapter 21. As for Chu Quanren from the beast-taming sect, the fear had stunned him. This. Chu Quanren looked at Xiao Changtian before him and the panda in his arms, which he was stroking. He was dumbfounded. Xiao Changtian was like a statue, unmoved. Chu Quanren had never seen such a scene before. Panda was the mount of the beast-taming sect's founding patriarch. It was fierce, and according to sporadic records, the panda could even eat a greater vehicle realm cultivator. However, the mortal before him was treating the panda as a toy. Most importantly, the panda cooperated obediently and didn't dare to move. Sect leader, that senior is a peerless expert. As for the one beside him, it's the legendary divine beast, a sky-devouring dog. Elder Wang quickly explained the situation to Chu Kuangren. Even though Elder Wang was using his vital energy to transmit the message, Chu Kuangren could still feel the fear in Elder Wang's emotions. A peerless expert. Sky-devouring dog. Chu Kuangren was shocked. No wonder, to him, the senior in front of him was no different from a mortal. It was because he was too weak. As for the sky-devouring dog, wasn't it the little dog beside senior? It was the little dog that had stopped the panda. The sky-devouring dog was a divine beast that was even more terrifying than the panda. It was rumored that it could devour the sky and the moon. Even if the beast-taming sex patriarch climbed out of his coffin, he wouldn't be a match for them. However, it seemed like the sky-devouring dog listened to the words of the expert in front of it. Also, the previous obstruction should have been instructed by the senior. Hiss. Chu Kuangren gasped. He was more shocked than ever. His face turned from shock to paleness, and the fear in his heart was indescribable. Huh? You're the previous buyer of my painting? Xiao Changtian turned around and saw perfected Qin Yun. This man was his source of money. Senior, it's me. It's indeed me, perfected Qin Yun laughed and answered quickly. Senior. Xiao Changtian was stunned. He was only a mortal, and they were cultivators. How could they call him senior? But on second thought, this person didn't seem like he was out of his mind. Calling him senior should be referring to him as a senior in calligraphy. It was no wonder that the system's skill mastery reward had enhanced his calligraphy. In the path of calligraphy, seniority had always been determined by calligraphy skill, not by age or status. This was the so-called accomplished people are the masters. There was no harm in calling him senior. Who is this person beside you? There are so many people from your sect. Why are you here? Xiao Changtian stood up and looked into the distance. He saw tens of thousands of people. He was also slightly nervous. There were so many people. He was afraid they were there to fight. This was the world of cultivation. It was normal for two sects to fight. However, these people's cultivation base was not enough to compare with the Reverend Dayang. He recalled a miniature sun behind Reverend Dayang's back when he had seen him make his move on the street. Moreover, he had the demeanor of an expert. Unlike these people, who were just here to fight for their sects, they all had fear in their eyes. They didn't even have the contempt that cultivators had for mortals. At first glance, he could tell that person was from a weak sect. It was like heaven and earth compared to Reverend Dayang. Senior, this is the sect master of the beast-taming sect, Chu Kuangren. Our two sects are in a disagreement, perfected Qin Yun explained hurriedly. However, before he could finish his explanation, Xiao Changtian interrupted him. All right, I understand. Listen to me. Go back. Let's call it a day. Xiao Changtian waved his hand and said to perfected Qin Yun and Chu Kuangren. Xiao Changtian thought, your sects have arranged a fight, and these disciples look afraid. Aren't you embarrassed? Even I can't stand it anymore. Then, Senior, Chu Kuangren pointed at the panda, pondering how Senior would deal with it. Without the Senior's suppression, the panda would run back again. The might of the panda was not something they could resist. You're talking about Rongrong? I'll raise it in the future, Xiao Changtian said with a smile. A giant panda's living environment in the wild was terrible, not to mention that this was the world of immortal cultivation. What if Rongrong encountered some powerful demonic beast and swallowed Rongrong in one bite? He should handle this matter and not be careless with it. Yes. Chu Kuangren was overjoyed when he heard this. The senior was going to suppress the panda himself. That was great. With the senior's help, the panda would not be able to cause any more trouble, and beast taming sect would be considered to have survived this calamity. You guys continue chatting. I'll be leaving first. Xiao Changtian lifted the panda. This panda was still in a state of shock. It must have been frightened by the fight between the two sections. After all, the panda was still small, and it was normal for it to be afraid of strangers. I am different and am immortal. So, Rongrong would feel at ease with me. Xiao Changtian thought to himself as he rushed home. Only perfected Qin Yun and Chu Kuangren were left there. At perfected Qin Yun's order, tens of thousands of cultivators from both sects returned to the Qin Yun sect. After a round of conversation, the two of them were extremely shocked. That was because they had discovered a shocking setup. Chu Kuangren asked, "You're saying that senior has already predicted the birth of the panda?" Perfected Qin Yun said, "That's right. This was all part of the senior's plan. Senior predicted that the panda would be born, so he had the black tortoise and the sky-devouring dog take action to send your daughter and Elder Wang back. With your daughter and Elder Wang's hint, you will come to the Beihuang continent. At this time, the senior predicted that I would attack the Heishan sect, and the result of the attack must have been within his expectations. The Black Mountain Daoist sacrificed the sect to increase his strength and wanted to attack Luoli. This included the panda that arrived later. The senior is truly meticulous." The more perfected Qin Yun guessed, the more shocked he became. Every step was closely linked, and his guess should be correct. After hearing what perfected Qin Yun said, Chu Kuangren nodded his head repeatedly, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He thought about it carefully, and it was indeed so. He only felt that it was unimaginable and even more terrifying. Meanwhile, a figure riding on a snow wolf stealthily left the Qin Yun sect under cover of the night, looking determined. "Senior, I'm here." Chu Iren flicked the leather whip in her hand, and the snow wolf king under her leaped up, disappearing in front of the moon. Meanwhile, a figure emerged from the ground in a barren land in Yang Town. The Heaven Secrets Tao compass shows that it's here. Could it be related to the expert who killed the Black Fiend Daoist and the Black Blood Chess Saint? The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's head retracted the silver light from his body, revealing his true appearance. Well. It's just in time. I can transform into a wandering Daoist and slowly search for my chance. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. The following day, the sun rose from the east as usual, and Xiao Changtian was also awake. There were a lot of plans for today. First, he would sell some calligraphy and paintings on the streets to exchange for copper coins. Next, he would renovate the small courtyard. The environment of the small courtyard wasn't suitable for Rongrong's life. If I want to expand the courtyard area, I'll need a lot of money. When Xiao Changtian thought of the 20 taels of gold from before, he felt pity for it. Jiu'er, after feeding the tortoises, go find a few craftsmen to renovate the courtyard, Xiao Changtian ordered. All right, Mu Jiuhuang nodded, and her beautiful eyes flashed. Craftsmen. Xiao Changtian was walking on the street, preparing to head to the town's pawn shop. He wanted to ask how much his paintings could be pawned for. A rich man like perfected Qin Yun must be rare. Now was when he urgently needed money and could not try his luck. I can predict the great fortune of the heavens and the good fortune and misfortune. I'll start the divination with 1 copper coin. If it's accurate, you can give me more. I'll give you 10 taels of gold if it's inaccurate. A loud voice was heard. Xiao Changtian looked over and saw that a fortune-telling stall had appeared before him since God knows when. At this time, a white-robed, beardless, middle-aged man had his eyes closed as he called out. It was the pavilion master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. In front of the stall, people would pass by from time to ask. When everyone left, they all had grateful expressions. "Young man, it's our fate to meet each other. Why don't I read you your fortune?" Heavenly Secrets Pavilion's master said with a smile. He. Xiao Changtian chuckled, and the corner of his mouth twitched. What ability did this kind of wandering Taoist have to predict the fate of the heavens? He had met many wandering Taoists in his previous life, so he didn't have a good impression of them. If they could directly calculate the winning numbers of the lottery tomorrow, wouldn't they have become rich long ago? Does he even know how to read fortunes? As for the cultivation world, he didn't believe it. Cultivation was a heaven-defying act. Who could predict their fate? Little brother, you don't believe me? Hearing Xiao Changtian's sneer, the pavilion master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion frowned. Countless cultivators on the 5 continents of the mainland of Tianyuan begged him to tell their fortunes, but he still did it according to his mood. Today, however, he came to a small town and was questioned by a mortal. "I don't," Xiao Changtian shook his head and said seriously. Seeing Xiao Changtian didn't look like he was lying. The pavilion master was even angrier. A mortal was questioning him. Was that appropriate? He could not tolerate that. The pavilion master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion slammed 100 taels of gold on the table. "I'll read your fortune. You'll have to give me a copper coin if it's accurate. If it's not, these golds are yours." Hiss. Seeing 100 taels of gold, and the gold even emitting a dazzling light, Xiao Changtian silently gasped. This was 100 taels of gold, enough for him to live the rest of his life without worry. "Aren't you afraid that I'll lie on purpose?" Xiao Changtian looked at the pavilion master and said solemnly. As long as he insisted that the man's calculations were inaccurate, wouldn't these 100 taels of gold be his? However, Xiao Changtian maintained his sincerity and wasn't tempted by money. He said it out loud. "I have a mirror here. It's an immortal treasure that can test the authenticity of a person's words. You can try it out." The Heavenly Secrets Taoist took out his Heavenly Secrets mirror. The Heavenly Secrets mirror was an ancient treasure passed down from generation to generation. Detecting lies were only one of its various functions. "Oh. I'll try then." Xiao Changtian was interested. He sat down opposite the pavilion master and looked in the mirror. After recalling what he knew, it seemed he was the only one who knew about yesterday's fight between the Qingyun sect and the beast-taming sect. He thought for a moment and said, "There was a fight at the back of the mountain outside the town yesterday." As Xiao Changtian spoke, the Heavenly Secrets mirror lit up with a green light. "This means you're not lying. If you lie, it will show red." The pavilion master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion explained. Xiao Changtian nodded. It seemed that this realm was indeed a treasure in the cultivation world. It even knew about the fight between cultivators yesterday. "All right. You can start the divination. Do you want me to write a word, or do you want me to read my fortune through my face?" "I'll cooperate with you," Xiao Changtian said. As for whether this wandering Taoist would renege on his debt, he didn't need to worry at all. Many people were watching them. With so many witnesses, he wasn't afraid that this wandering Taoist would go back on his word. No need to go through so much trouble. "I'll know once I calculate," the pavilion master said arrogantly. His divination art could predict anything from the 9th-level Heavenly Tribulation Realm experts to mortals on the mainland of Tianyuan. The pavilion master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion lightly twirled a spell with a faint smile on his lips. Today, he was going to let this mortal experience his skill. What do you guys think? It's 100 taels of gold. I want it. We're waiting for the results. If it's accurate, let's get him to read our fortunes too. The residents of Daong Town were all curious as they waited for the results. Xiao Changtian, on the other hand, was indifferent. The wandering Taoist was probably using a trick to deceive people. If he didn't get tricked by the wandering Taoist and allowed him to grasp his psychological weakness, the wandering Taoist wouldn't have had any chance to find out anything. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master chanted a spell, and the smile on his face gradually disappeared. His brows gradually furrowed, and his expression turned serious. Such a tough mortal's fate. Fog blocking my sight. Humph, it's a pity it will not stop me. I'm, after all, the Taoist of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master sneered. He used the Heavenly Secrets art and charged toward the mist. Heh, break it open and let me see what's inside, Heavenly Secrets Taoist laughed in his heart. But suddenly, his expression changed, and his body trembled. Just as his Heavenly Secrets art was about to break through the fog, a brilliant pressure of the great Tao descended. If he hadn't dodged in time and used his substitute body to block it, he was probably dead by now. This is impossible. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master looked at Xiao Changtian in disbelief. Was the person in front of him a fucking mortal? This big shot came from God knows where and was making fun of him. Senior must be joking. I'm just a swindler. All of this gold is yours. The Pavilion Master knew that the person in front of him was a big shot, so he quickly apologized. His back was already drenched in a cold sweat. In the ring, the substitute body had already been crushed into ashes. He would have turned into a pool of ash if he had not reacted quickly. No. Not even his ash would be left. Huh. You haven't told me the result yet. Xiao Changtian was dumbfounded. You just made up a lie, and it ended just like that? How boring is that? I can't figure it out, the Pavilion Master said helplessly with a wry smile. However, he was a little nervous in his heart. Could it be that the senior doesn't intend to let me go? However, he didn't have any enmity with this senior. The Pavilion Master could only smile and hand the gold to Xiao Changtian as a serious apology. Chapter 23. Chapter 23. Senior, please don't make things difficult for me. I can't predict your fortune, the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion Master smiled bitterly. Hee, if you knew this would happen, why did you promise this? In the future, don't predict such unpredictable things like fortune and fate. Xiao Changtian laughed and said. If he didn't intend to swindle, he wouldn't have had such an ending today. It was a lesson for this wandering Taoist. As for the 100 taels of gold, Xiao Changtian only took 10 taels. Senior, these are all yours. Please don't refuse them, the Pavilion Master quickly said. He was panicked. This young man was an expert, and the Pavilion Master knew he couldn't offend him. Moreover, the words of this expert were the same as the admonishment his master had given him when he had first entered the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Predicting the Heavenly Secrets was a treasonous thing. However, after cultivating the art of Heavenly Secrets to perfection, he no longer cared about it because he could use other means to eliminate the heavenly tribulation. Moreover, no one could remind him. Only today, when he had made a fool of himself in front of Senior, did he truly come to his senses. The apprehension and nervousness he had felt when he first entered the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion again welled up in him. The senior was reminding him if he predicted many heavenly secrets, it would eventually lead to a karmic backlash. The senior was a kind man. No need. Since the previous rule was 10 taels of gold, it's 10 taels of gold. Just remember not to do such a thing in the future, Xiao Changtian said indifferently as he left with the 10 taels of gold. He left the Pavilion Master of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion alone to reflect on his actions. TSK. This man is a swindler, after all. He is not to be trusted. Let's leave. There's nothing to see here. The surrounding crowd also dispersed in an uproar. If the Taoist couldn't read anything, what kind of fortune teller was he? Immediately, everyone lost interest. On the streets, Xiao Changtian looked at the 10 taels of gold in his hand, feeling happy. I've been quite lucky recently. First, someone bought a piece of calligraphy, and then I met a wealthy swindler. I'll have money now to renovate the courtyard. I just don't know if Jior has found the craftsman. Xiao Changtian thought. Dongxing continent. On a vast sea, a few masters were floating in the void, and their powerful qi activities caused the sea to surge. Fellow Taoist Jihuang, it's impossible for us to be craftsmen for others. That's right. We're all cultivators at the 3rd level heavenly tribulation realm. Don't even think about insulting us even if we're not your match. We also have our dignity. 5 middle-aged men stood in front of Mu Jiuhuang, each holding a different weapon. These 5 people were the sect leader and elders of the heavenly building sect. When they were still weak, they were construction workers. However, due to fate, they obtained an opportunity and evolved into Taoism through construction work, becoming powerful people. He, it seems you guys don't like to be persuaded. Mu Jiuhuang chuckled. The aura around her turned cold. A powerful aura burst out, instantly suppressing the 5 people. Arg! What are you trying to do? Ah! The 5 of them shouted. Their faces flushed red. Under the pressure of Mu Jiuhuang's aura, they found breathing difficult. They were like small boats on the sea that could be overturned at any time. No. How is this possible? How can you be so powerful? The 5 of them were shocked, and their faces filled with horror. Even if Mu Jiuhuang was a 9th stage heavenly tribulation realm expert, the 5 of them could still escape even if they couldn't defeat him. But now, they realized that they couldn't even escape. Because I'm already above the heavenly tribulation realm, Mu Jiuhuang said indifferently. His face was cold, but his voice resounded over the entire sea. At this moment, she was more like Emperor Jiuhuang, the emperor who controlled life and death. She was different from the courtyard's submissive maid. Senior, do you still remember me? On the way, Xiao Changtian was stopped by Chu Yiren. Chu Yiren smiled affectionately, and her big, watery eyes stared at Xiao Changtian's eyes. You're so silly. Xiao Changtian looked at the young lady in front of him. Wasn't this the young lady who seemed dim-witted? Did she run out again? Wasn't this girl following Chu Kuangren before? Could this girl be Chu Kuangren's daughter? Forget it. I'll take you back. Xiao Changtian said helplessly. They were considered acquaintances, so he couldn't watch this silly girl get abducted. He would bring her back first. Chu Kuangren would send people out to look for her, and he would let the Chu family's people take this silly girl back. Senior, you're taking me back. Hearing this, Chu Yiren felt her heart hammering. Follow me, Xiao Changtian grabbed Chu Yiren's wrist and brought her back. Chu Yiren felt even more delighted when he held her. It seems like you've taken a liking to me, senior. I'll go to your room tonight and settle this matter, then. Chu Yiren lowered her head as she thought. Her face filled with excitement and anticipation. Soon, the few of them returned to the small courtyard simultaneously. Master, who is she? The first thing Mu Jiuhuang saw was that Xiao Changtian was holding a woman's hand. Baffled, she directly asked. After she spoke, she realized that something was wrong with her. She was the senior's maid. How could she question the senior like this? She quickly apologized, Senior, I'm sorry. Oh, it's nothing. She's an old friend's daughter. Did you find me those craftsmen? Xiao Changtian waved his hand and said indifferently. He knew that women were always on guard against each other. Yes. Mu Jiuhuang replied. After knowing Mu Jiuhuang had broken through to the greater vehicle realm, the few people from the Heavenly Building sect agreed to build the place. After all, Mu Jiuhuang had told them that if they came to build the courtyard, they would be able to meet the peerless expert. But, all they saw was a mortal. The 5 of them looked at each other in confusion. That was all. Since you're here, let's start the job. Transform this courtyard according to my blueprint. Xiao Changtian settled Chu Yiren down in a room. Then, he took a blueprint and handed it to the Heavenly Building sect members. I want to build a bamboo forest here. We need to expand the pool and the chicken coop. Xiao Changtian planned carefully. According to his guess, the system would give him more animals. He had to expand the yard and not mix up the lives of the animals. A budget of 10 taels of gold was enough. The problem was that they might have a conflict with the inn. Xiao Changtian felt that this matter would be a little challenging to handle when he thought of Reverend Dayang's invincible demeanor. However, after looking at the animals and thinking about his future path of invincibility, Xiao Changtian still felt that he had to do this. Jiu'er, go to the Dayang sects in first and communicate with them, Xiao Changtian instructed Mu Jiuhuang. If it didn't work, he would go himself. Alright, Mu Jiuhuang nodded. Chapter 24. Chapter 24. In the courtyard, the 5 elders of the Heavenly Building sect were renovating the courtyard according to the blueprint. Xiao Changtian was pacing back and forth at the door, a little worried. Dayang sect was a cultivation sect in Dayang town. There was still one level difference between an immortal cultivator and a mortal. I wonder how the communication is going. Did Jiu'er manage to persuade the cultivators? Should I go with her? Xiao Changtian was worried as he looked at the inn. Meanwhile, Mu Jiuhuang walked into the inn and immediately announced her identity. When she released her aura, the cultivators on duty were instantly intimidated. The inn manager was dumbfounded and quickly reported to Reverend Dayang. On the other end of the communication device, Reverend Dayang quickly agreed humbly. In just a quarter of an hour, everything was settled. Done. Mu Jiuhuang smiled faintly. She felt that she could ask her master for some rewards for completing the mission. After all, her master brought back another woman. Phew. In the Dayang hall, Reverend Dayang cut off the communication and sat limply on the sect leader's throne, looking aggrieved. He had never thought that the mortal from before could make Emperor Jiuhuang speak to him personally. No wonder. No wonder that mortal was so calm when he saw him. It turned out that he had the Emperor as his backer. At the thought of the Emperor's terrifying might, Reverend Dayang immediately ordered the inn to agree to all conditions related to the courtyard. The Emperor is not to be trifled with. She's an existence that can destroy the Dayang sect with a single slap. Reverend Dayang said with lingering fear. At the same time, he also asked the disciples of the inn to take care of the small courtyards. If there were any trouble, he would ask the cultivators of the inn to go and help. In the courtyard, the 5 elders of the Heavenly Building sect worked very quickly and removed all the outer walls in no time. Little Tortoise, go to the side and wait for a while. Elder Zhu Yi walked to the poolside and grabbed the green tortoise with one hand, trying to transform the pool. Suddenly, the green tortoise glared at him. The black tortoise's terrifying aura instantly scared Elder Zhu Yi to the point that his face turned pale, making him stagger and fall to the ground. What's wrong? Xiao Changtian rushed back when he heard the voice. The other elders of the Heavenly Building sect also hurriedly helped Zhu Yi. Be careful while working. Don't be so careless. Xiao Changtian observed Elder Zhu Yi and found that he wasn't injured. So, he let out a sigh of relief and advised. Yes, yes, Elder Zhu Yi quickly nodded and answered, no longer looking down on him. Elder Zhu Yi had just seen the black tortoise Dharma. He finally understood that the mortal before him was not as simple as he thought. As for the opportunity that Mu Jilwag had mentioned, he believed it now. I'm going to move these animals away. You guys rest for a while. Xiao Changtian picked up the tortoise and put it in the water basin for the time being. Then, he went back into the house. When Xiao Changtian had left, the other elders all asked with puzzled looks, "Big brother, what happened just now?" "You." Zhu Yi said, "Shush, listen to me." Xiao Changtian carried the tortoise and entered the room. He immediately saw Chu Yiren carrying Rongrong to the bed, playing with her happily. As for the panda, because Chu Yiren had Xiao Changtian's aura on her, it did not dare to move and curled up into a ball. "Okay, have fun in the room, and don't run around. I'll only be back at night," Xiao Changtian instructed. He placed the basin with the green tortoise on the table, closed the door, and left. Did Senior just say, he will be back at night? Chu Yiren's mind was running wild. Xiao Changtian honestly did not expect that things would progress so smoothly. "It seems like this Reverend Daong is a good cultivator," Xiao Changtian lamented. He had read too many novels in his previous life, which made him think he would encounter a tyrant the moment he transmigrated. He did not expect Reverend Daong to be so reasonable. I should also send a congratulatory gift whenever Daong's sect has any celebrations in the future. Xiao Changtian thought. Everything was going according to plan. Time passed slowly. Soon, it was night. When Xiao Changtian returned, he found Chu Yiren shivering in the corner, fast asleep. Helplessly, he could only sleep on the floor. On the streets, undercurrents were surging. The cultivators of the Azura sect had sneaked in during the night when it was dark. Azura sect, a 7th-grade sect, was an evil sect that harmed ordinary mortals. They were best at extracting the yang energy of mortals and using it for cultivation. It was an existence that everyone in the cultivation world hated. Let's destroy this first. Then, we'll occupy the Daong sect's territory and start our development from Daong town. The sect master said with a smile. Daong sect was merely a 9th-grade sect. It would be a piece of cake to take it down. Suddenly, a voice rang out. "So this is where your Azura sect escaped to. No wonder we 5 brothers couldn't find you after searching for so many years." Zhu Yi's voice was extremely cold. The other 4 elders of the Heavenly Building sect also had cold expressions. They originally had 6 brothers. Unfortunately, the Azura sect had drained their brother's yang energy using the charming technique, making him die of exhaustion. They had been searching the world for years but could not find a trace of the Azura sect. However, they did not expect to meet the Azura sect here today. "You guys. Why are you here?" Azura sect's sect leader turned pale with fright. An expert wearing a skull mask told him he would not be discovered if he hid in Daong town. Arg! Before they could escape, the cultivators of the Azura sect were all killed. I'm enlightened. This is all part of the senior's plan. Zhu Yi looked at the Azura sect corpses on the ground, filled with surprise. The other 4 people all came over to take a look. Meanwhile, in the dark secret chamber, a slave mark in the skeleton-masked man's hand suddenly shattered. These Azura sect pieces of trash are indeed unreliable. It seems like I have to make some big moves soon. The skeletal man sneered and issued 3 orders. The 3 men who received the order were shocked. A convention of geniuses in Daong town. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.